killed. More people lived in the city at the time. New York City, which has more than 8 million residents, had 306 homicides through the middle of the month. Marcus White, Fox News.
Queen Elizabeth delivering her annual Christmas Day message. The Queen recalling historic moments like D-Day and the moon landing and applauding activists of today.
I have been struck by how new generations have brought a similar sense of purpose to issues such as protecting our environment and our climate.
This was the Queen's 68th Christmas message. Pope Francis addressing tens of thousands of faithful at the Vatican in Rome today.
Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto.
Known as Urbi et Orbi, or to the city of Rome and to the world, the message is given during solemn occasions, including the celebration of Christmas. A Florida city will pay for identity protection monitoring for up to 60,000 people following a cyber attack this month that crippled Pensacola's computer systems for days. Mayor Grover Robinson said he made the decision after talks with Deloitte, the international professional services company hired to audit the city's cybersecurity issues after that attack. Robinson says there's no evidence that anyone's personal information was compromised, but he said the city would notify people because he believed it was the right thing to do. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
As the busy holiday season approaches, the last thing on your mind is to visit your medical provider. At American Medical Center, we put your health first. A preventative visit will ensure a healthy holiday season. Call 647-8262, and together we can address any concerns you may have and make certain all your medications are current. From our family to yours, happy holidays from American Medical Center, your partner in healthcare.
The holiday season is here, and it gives us pause to reflect on the abundance of 2019 and to express our gratitude for Guam, the island we call home, and to all Guamanians. Our team here at Security Title is proud of the work we do to support ourselves and our families, to serve and care for our customers, and to give back to our community. May this season of joy and the new year bring happiness, good health, and prosperity to you and yours. Merry Christmas from all of us at Security Title.
Live the balanced lifestyle. Take Care Insurance offers proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage individuals and families to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle through preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing and unwinding, and being socially connected. They have the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs for all ages. Join the movement. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram or visit takecareasia.com to learn more.
Day and good morning. It's 6:06. I'm Mana Silva Tyron with some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The accident snarled traffic along Route 8 in Mighty for a bit yesterday while police and Guam fire medics responded to a motorcycle spill by the new Payless Market. Police have released few other details in their investigation, but a motorcycle driver was transported to the Guam Memorial Hospital. The accident took place around 2:30. GFD spokesman Kevin Riley says the driver was conscious and responsive. The lanes leading toward Barragata were closed as Guam police officers investigated the scene. A video shared on WhatsApp shows the motorcycle on the street laying on its side with smoke coming from it. A 28-year-old Tamuning man spent his Christmas behind bars after he allegedly slammed a 14-year-old boy to the ground and choked him. Jonathan Robert Brown Jr. is charged with family violence as a third-degree felony, family violence as a misdemeanor, and child abuse as a misdemeanor. According to court documents, police responded to a child abuse complaint in Tamuning on Monday. The woman told police her 4 grandchildren, including the teen victim, came over to her apartment because they were locked out of their home by the suspect. The teen told police the suspect told him to get inside the home, but instead he went searching for his younger sibling around the neighborhood. The children returned home but had been locked out for about 2 hours before they decided to go to their grandmother's apartment. They returned home when the victim's mother disciplined the teen with a belt. That's when the suspect is accused of grabbing the teen, slamming him to the ground, and choking him. The child told police he was unable to breathe. He took his 13-year-old sibling and ran back to the grandmother's home. The suspect denied choking the teen. He told police that he heard the sound of a belt hitting from the other room and then ran in and he heard the struggle. He saw his wife's hand bleeding and then the teen sitting on the couch. The suspect admitted to rushing toward the victim, grabbing him by his shirt collar and throwing him to the floor, where he held him down. Meanwhile, the man arrested in a viral video that led to several Guam police officers being investigated will be back in court today. Defendant Jobert Carlos pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease before a magistrate judge earlier this week. He's represented by attorney Bill Bischoff. Carlos is charged with criminal mischief as a third-degree felony, assault as a misdemeanor, and disorderly conduct as a petty misdemeanor. The court has been waiting for a forensic evaluation to be performed before they accept his assertion for a speedy trial. He's scheduled to be back in court today. Meanwhile, GPD's internal investigation on the arresting officer accused of assaulting Carlos continues. The FBI is also conducting a civil rights investigation, while the Office of the Attorney General continues to handle the criminal investigation. On December 3rd, police were called to Ipoh Beach after Carlos attempted to punch a lifeguard and was calling out others on the beach to fight. He was swinging punches at random people. Carlos is also alleged to have thrust himself backward toward the officer and kicked the rear bumper of the car. The officer then conducted what they were calling an open palm strike on his abdomen to gain compliance before putting him into the patrol vehicle. The arrest was caught on a cell phone video that went viral. That video led to the arresting officer being accused of assaulting Carlos and being placed on administrative leave. 3 other police officers that were there that day have been reassigned. We'll have more news after this.
Ever notice how that one perfect holiday gift is just out of reach? Or how sales on the stuff you want all come at the same time? This season, plan ahead with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. Now you can afford to be nice without being naughty. For more details, visit FHB.com or any branch to apply. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Howdy, folks. I'll never forget that fateful day. I was having a lovely ride with my KFC biscuits when, boom! An easily avoidable accident resulted in a collision of flavors that became my most delicious creation yet.
New KFC Cinnabon Dessert Biscuits. Get it with every 12-piece meal. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Several Department of Corrections officers and others charged in the contraband case at the Department of Corrections will be sentenced today in the Superior Court. Former Internal Affairs Officer Jeff Limo and others officers Jerry Hokog, Edward Crisostomo, all pleaded guilty for their part in a smuggling contraband case in the prison. Their sentencing will be before Judge Anita Sokola. Also to be sentenced are Bruno Simmons and Sean Johnson, who are inmates at the Department of Corrections. Former Department of Corrections officer Jerome Timinglo San Nicolas will also be in court. San Nicolas was to plead guilty in an earlier hearing, but his hearing was rescheduled to today because a drug test wasn't given to him before the hearing. San Nicolas is one of the several officers indicted after the large-scale shakedown in the prison 2 years ago. And Michael Knight from The Points radio show is inviting the community to come out to an eclipse viewing party at the Sheraton Laguna, Guam tonight. The moon will cover the sun in what's known as the annual eclipse, resulting in a dramatic ring of fire. No solar eclipse should be viewed directly without a filter. Doing so can blind you, so you need to go to this event tonight so that you can get one of those eclipse viewing glasses.
Magical eclipse viewing glasses.
I'm just happy I made the paper and I wasn't in the magistrate report this time.
The police blotter.
Nice. Not like the incident in '87, as a matter of fact. All right, we'll talk more about that, obviously, because there is nothing else going on in Guam today. 6:12 in the morning, partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. There's east winds 15 to 20 miles an hour, decreasing a little bit over tonight. Highs near 88 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 77 degrees. Sunrise this morning at 6:41. And a very unusual sunset going to be taking place about 6:01 tonight.
That's right. Yeah, we'll be in the tail end of the eclipse that's going to take place just about an hour prior to that. Easy for me to say.
Yeah.
So the eclipse actually will reach its greatest point of totality for us just before 5 o'clock at about 4:57.
So perfect.
Yeah. So that part of totality is only going to last about 3 minutes, and the sun will be about if you hold your hand out and you make a fist, it'll be about a fist and a half above the horizon, so it'll be very easily seen from where we're going to be at Sheraton.
Oh, yeah.
And lots of other places across Guam on the west side of the island as well. So get out there and check that out. But do not look directly at the eclipse. Find some way to do it. The best way for most people to do it, if you don't have the eclipse glasses like we have, is just simply take like an index card, poke a hole in it with anything, a pen or anything else, and then just hold that up and onto another white piece of paper. The image you see there will be the sun's image, because that's just how light works when it comes through.
Don't look through the hole.
No.
You can look at the paper. We'll do this all day today, because people are going to do that and misinterpret the instructions, which is why I always just say, look, join us at the Sheraton. First 100 people get eclipse glasses, and it's going to be, as you point out, 3 minutes. You're not going to look through the whole thing for 3 minutes, so if somebody next to you doesn't have one, share the glasses.
There you go. And with the glasses, what will happen is you'll be able to look up and see the varying degrees of the eclipse as it's taking place. It will be already happening as we get things launched at 4 o'clock. It will still be happening when we wrap things up at 6, but you'll get to see both ends of it and mainly the middle, which I've got a little picture I shared of what it'll kind of look like.
I might put some of that on the TV radio thing that we've got here. 6:14 or so, and you know what? I did not, because I was so, I don't know, doing something else. I was distracted. Here, let me take a look at we got to look at the radar. We got to, there's a format here for the program that we loosely try to follow. So this is the weather radar, the most recent one, and it shows, it's more of those winds coming in from the east.
Yeah, definitely, and I'll make this part short and sweet. We do have some trade wind disturbances moving through. That's what they do this time of year. Some clouds will be moving through this morning. Looks like those will probably move through and clear out. Mm-hmm. The forecast for this evening is actually looking really good. Of course, there's always a chance that we'll see some clouds. Hitting satellite real quick, we'll see things look really, really good. And the good news right now, that's all right. The good news right now, I can explain what's going on. Actually, we're showing a shear line coming through on Sunday. It'll be our first shear line of the year. You can actually quite literally see it on the satellite here. It's up around 10 degrees north, and where you see the air kind of buckling, there's a little ripple in the atmosphere moving from north to south. That is the shear line that's going to be making its way through here later on Sunday. So what it's going to do, it'll bring in a few showers. It will be a shift in the winds. The winds will kind of come out of the south just before the shear line hits, and then they'll switch back out to the northeast again, coming in cooler and drier. It's just another reinforcement of the trade wind weather.
Off on the left-hand side of the screen it looks like the tail of the storm that rolled through the Visayas on Christmas Eve.
That's right. Yeah, Typhoon Fanfon is still out there. It's moving through the outer portions of the western portions of the Visayas now, probably up around Mindoro Island. So it's about to exit into the South China Sea. It's getting eat up though. The mountains killed it. Now it's getting dry air. So nothing to worry about for Vietnam and those people. But the Philippines took a pretty good hit.
6:16 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point. Brought to you by Bank Pacific. Banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
Rent, lease. What does Horizon do for you? Here's a clue. Advertising, marketing, screening, inspecting, instructing, leasing and signing, collecting and complying, inquiring and assessing, coordinating, repairing, renewing, enforcing, evicting, moving, cleaning, rekeying, communicating. Do it yourself and you'll find it taxing. We work hard to keep the vacancies low, so at the end of the month, you collect the dough. Proven and trusted. Horizon Properties. We do it all. 777-7792.
Hop a day. This is Melanie Mendiola.
And this is Ricky Hernandez. We're with the Guam Economic Development Authority.
And we're both alumni of the University of Guam. We're calling on our fellow alumni to make an investment in Guam's future by contributing to the G is for Giving campaign. With your donation, you are giving more students the opportunity to graduate, making Guam a better place.
To make a tax-deductible donation, log on to give.uog.edu before December 31st or call 735-2957 for more information.
Viva UOG!
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your fix every day with the Points NFL Pick'em Contest. Get the latest updates as we check out the past week's performance and break down the upcoming action. Get your game on by calling the hotline at 888-TALK or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome weekly prizes with a shot for your choice of a new GTA phone. The NFL Pick'em Contest is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
It's the Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by my friends over at Wendy's. For just $5, get 2 of your faves there. The deal you're looking for into the new year. Introducing Wendy's 2 for $5. That's a win for everybody. Choose from a Dave's single spicy chicken sandwich or 10-piece nuggets. Yes. Pick any 2 for just $5. Hands down, best value on Guam. Stop by, get your 2 for $5 deal today at Wendy's. The Ray Gibson Show is also brought to you by American President Lines. APL, a global presence with a local home.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Yes. Welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. Excuse the voice. There's apparently too much caroling going on. And got to be Christmas Eve, and was in the downtown Nagutia area, and I heard the sound of jingle bells and moseyed over to the Agana Cathedral Basilica. There was Christmas carols being sung by the choirs, and I joined in. I don't know. I don't think no, I didn't. I did. How close did I get to that? I ran with the boys over at Southern Mountain Gear on Tuesday, and then we went to Carabao, because that's what we do after running around Agana. And got to Carabao, and the lady says, "Oh, good, you're here. Hurry, we're closing at 8." Huh? What? What do you mean you're closing at 8 o'clock? Is it 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night? She says, yeah, it's 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night that also happens to be Christmas Eve, so we're getting out of here. Okay, all right. So we, double fist a couple of drinks and get out of there. And then I went to another place, and they were open, but just barely. The lady, I walk in, the lady says the kitchen is closed. And I looked at the bar, and it was just me and the bartender. And I thought, this is kind of an interesting Christmas Eve. It was basically, again, you're shutting down. We're moving into full-blown religious mode right now, and you sinners need to get out.
Though.
Yeah. Well, everywhere else, I presume there was Christmas shopping going on.
Exactly. Tamuning Tuma were very, very busy.
Late evening Christmas shopping and the like. And that was my Christmas Eve adventure. We'll talk about Christmas Day. In the meantime, let me just make a couple of introductions. We got my baby sister, Mona Silva Tyron, is over here. She will take care of delivering news that we get from the Guam Daily Post. Michael Knight is in the other studio. Michael Knight is 888-8255. That's 888-8255. And Michael Knight, just crazy excited about tonight's eclipse. I know that you are beside yourself with anticipation.
I really have been. I mean, I've been planning this thing for about a month. And it was weird because I really wasn't paying much attention to it a couple of months ago, and then it kind of came across my news feed, and I was like, well, where's this going to be seen? And then I was like, wow, we're going to be right in the bullseye, so we need to do something.
And I'd seen it, but then when I saw it, cross the wires, as we say, it was talking about how it was going to be this big Saudi Arabian kind of, Middle East kind of thing. And I thought, well, good for them. And then then we started talking about it and following the curve of this through the daylight hours. And this thing is going to make its last stop here.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's going to go out with a bang right here on Guam. We will be the last people to actually lay eyes on the eclipse.
On an annular eclipse for 130 years.
Yep.
I did the mathematics on it. The next one of these is going to be in 130 years. I intend to be around for it because I did the math on that one. I'll only be 188 years old.
Oh, it's easy.
So 180. I'll probably still be doing this show. Just sitting around here. When Felix Camacho did this, when Eddie Calvo did this, can you imagine just how ridiculous those kind of statements would be in 188 years?
And, by then, Guam will be fully independent, and everybody will be walking around smoking weed.
Yeah, everybody. And cockfighting, because that's
of course,
I'm wondering if maybe that ought to become kind of a linchpin, the call for the independence-minded people on Guam and saying, see, they're taking something away from us, and maybe it's time that we declare our independence for the sake of cockfighting. 6:22 in the morning. More on the eclipse as the morning progresses, and more on Mana and our activities yesterday, because I know that you're all dying to know how Mana and I celebrated our Christmas yesterday, and I'll tell you all the fun parts here in a second. But the other introductions that need to get made here, the points top 10.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always but you can't. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
Top 10 this morning looks like Pat and Norma Jean are there. J.B. St. Nicholas comes in at number 2. Hoffa John Ray, just good to have you online, and followed by John Ray. And then there's Yoichi Rangel, who's just touched down on Guam, just came back from his Christmas time in Palau, and annoyed that yet again he had to leave Palau in the middle of the night, which meant that he didn't get to see the pretty rock islands in or out. They're just trying. Well, here's the deal. He says, why do they do that? I'd love to be able to see the plane, for the islands from the plane. And near as I can tell, the reason why the airlines have that arrangement, and it goes back a long time, is because that plane that you came in on is going to be catching customers from someplace else and taking them someplace else. So the airplane 737 can't be in two places at the same time, and that's the story there. I got the other Marianne Tyron St. Nicholas comes in at number 6. Steve Klein is there. Al Bautista, Nate Horn, and then there's Neats who rounds out the top 10. I thought Neats had an interesting question. I'll try to get around to reading that in a second. Nate Horn says, I'm still in the food coma. Good. Ray Sabine is online. Sabine Chargaloff. Hoyt from Nick Perlowski. Kenny Williams says, it's golf at Leo Palace. Have a great day. Oh, are you back in town? I thought I saw pictures of you on the book face where you were out traveling. Marla, and there's our golf clap for you. There's you know, and I'd love to go golf with you, but the fact of the matter is I cheat. You'd note it. I hit a hole-in-one once, and I wrote down 0. And they won't let me on that course anymore. Who else is playing around? James Lester Lonzo is there. Joe Blas. And Neat says, darn, looks to be cloudy today. Eclipse of my lifetime. Anybody know where I can get a dark camera lens? What's the deal here on what do you suppose the weather's going to be like later today? I mean, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot in our areas, some high altitude stuff, but is there anything on the low side that's going
and there's not a whole lot of high altitude clouds either. Those have been pulled away by Fanfone as it moved away. We just have trade wind clouds, so that's what you can expect. You'll be looking at the eclipse, through the usual clouds that come on through as they normally do this time of year. But we have no major weather systems that are going to block things out or anything. There will be plenty of opportunities.
We're going to get what we get. And then the question is, anybody know where I can get a dark camera lens? I don't know how to photograph one of these things. We're all running around anymore with, 2019, maybe some of the most sophisticated electronic camera devices in the history of mankind. But what still happens is you shoot a picture of something up in the sky, a pretty moon, celestial, whatever clouds, and it never quite comes out the way you see it in real life after you've taken the picture. And I don't know why that is, and I don't know what to do about it other than finding a stable platform device. We'll see if we can get a hold of one of the Point's favorite photographers to give us some pointers, because no doubt you're going to want to capture this moment, and we'd like you to capture it safely.
Yeah, the fact is those that come out to view with the Eclipse glasses will actually be able to take the glasses and put it over their phone lens and be able to capture shots that way.
So
it's a cheap way that we can be able to do it with just the phones.
Yeah.
If you have a DSLR camera, go to one of your photography shops that you normally get your lenses and stuff. They have filters that you can get for these. They're fairly reasonably priced. They need to be, because you may not get a chance to use it again.
Yeah,
but you can also use these lenses to just take really interesting sun photos and other things. So check that out at your local photography shop.
Do we have local photography shops anymore, Mana? When's the last time you went into a local photography shop?
To have photos printed?
Yeah, just to have them printed. But when's the last time you went into someplace to find yourself some kind of shooting gear like a DSLR and lenses?
At the base, I bought a camera a couple years ago.
Yep.
It was a Nikon, and I got one of those 800 millimeter lenses.
Those are nice.
Super cool.
Yep.
But I don't know how to use it.
Just put it on
so
auto.
I gave it to Mia.
Just put it on auto. You see what happens there. I see Pam Duvall is on.
But to print pictures now, they have these kiosks that you can actually just take your SD card, whatever you got, your memory card, stick it in there, and you print pick and choose whatever you want to print. You don't
there's a guy at your shopping center that does that too, right? He's got a system where you can just go in and shoot your pictures.
Yeah, so you can pick and choose what pictures you want, as opposed to how we did it before. You just kind of Cross your fingers that you get some good photos.
See, people, kids in this day and age have no idea what the struggle was.
Oh,
you
yeah.
shoot, 100 pictures on 3 or 4 rolls of film,
Cost
and then you take it to
$35.
somebody, and they develop it, and then you look at it, and you don't know what you shot until after the pictures have finally been developed.
Of course, you can learn how to develop those yourself. My mom taught herself how to do it. She got
Really?
the books.
With the camera?
And,
With color?
Oh, wow.
And this is back with SLR, so this is the old days with actual 35mm film.
No, that's what I was talking
And
about.
she set up the closet where she had the lights and everything in there, and it was quite interesting. She was able to...
Did she do black and white and color, or just
Yes,
black
she
and
did.
white?
Now,
She did
color was quite a challenge.
Yeah.
Black and white, not so much, but still, she was able to manage it.
Nice. All right. We got June Bells is in there and online. Andy Camacho says, clouds today? No. We're pushing the clouds off as much as we possibly can. And Jess Mendiola is online. Nice to see you there. Pam Duvall sent me a picture. I'll see if I can scare that up. So, Ray, have you prepared your campaign platform? Been doing a self-imposed political blackout while I'm on staycation? The answer to the question is, yeah, I've got a campaign platform started. First part is to win in an election. The second part is get enough people to come in with me that are like-minded. And the first thing we're going to do, because none of us want to stay at the legislature all dang day, so the first thing that we're going to do is say that the legislature is now a part-time body. There's committees, there's staff. Let them write the bills, let them read the bills, and let them determine which of them are going to be coming out. And then you put a pile of them together, and then you give it to us on Monday, and then we have session on Friday and vote, and that's it. What do you think? And we don't have to marry anybody. We're not going to be spending all time at the funeral.
You can still marry and you can still go to the funerals, but you're going to do that on your own time.
Right. Not on the people's time. And you figure I've got other things to do. You want to get married? Go find Pully and let him do it, or some other justice of the peace that we have around here. And that's one of them. And then the second thing is going to be to repeal the. Well, I don't know. There's a bunch of second things. I think I'll I think I'll spread this out a little bit thinner between now and the fun time when everybody I know goes and picks up packets. Anyway, but thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Who else is around here? Nina Muftis with the pretty Valentine's eyes. Rooster is there saying, morning, familia. Second day of Christmas. That's right. Yesterday was the first day of Christmas, and then we'll watch the clock as we get from here to Three Kings. And you know what Three Kings is, right? Yeah, the Feast of the Epiphany, etc., the Three Kings, where that is traditionally here and in some other places kind of a second smaller Christmas. So if you were expecting something yesterday and it wasn't under the tree yesterday, maybe you were vocal about it, and maybe somebody was paying attention and says, "Oh, okay, we'll do that. We'll get that, and that will be your present on the Three Kings."
Yeah, you'll have no idea how disappointed I was when I got up yesterday morning in the car. It was not under the tree.
They didn't put a car under your tree? Pam Duvall says, Ramon, at 188, your shirts will seem bigger because your body will shrink. That's okay. I'm sure there'll still be a Stitch Fix or something like it
around.
around.
Santa a motorcycle would be okay, too.
You can end up with a bike with a little putt-putt motor on it. 188, and if you missed that part of the chatter, 188 is how old I will be the next time there is an annular eclipse. The next one is, as far as the science guys say, the year 2149. 2149. And we'll still have a 5% business privilege tax because Lou said she wants to keep it forever. So it's 130 years from now. Add that to however old you are, and that's what we'll be shooting for. That's what we'll be.
Infinity.
Right.
And beyond.
And it'll come up, and we'll tell the kids, "Oh, there's that again." The great inconvenience. Gotta hope this is not going to be a nothing burger. John Titano's online saying, Mananas Zeus. I see Neats is all over the place. Don't risk the camera. I ruined my last camera at the last partial eclipse. So, like I said, we'll see if we can get some expert testimony on how to do all of this. Developing film was fun, she says. I worked at Guam Photo after high school. Yeah, that was one of the spots. There was another place, Kimura Camera, I think was the name of it, in the ITC building, right? Which was
yeah,
where
that's right.
That's where you went to develop the film. And I used to kind of like to hang out around there every once in a while, not because I was one of these shutterbugs, but every once in a while, I swear to God, and this is, you got to remember who you're listening to here. Every once in a while, professional photographers would come in there with their professional beach bikini shots. And all the guys would get around together, and we'd look at, because he'd print out a contact sheet, right? And you print out a contact sheet that shows you, miniature versions of everything that you shot, and then you figured out which ones that you wanted to get blown up, or what you figured needed additional treatment on, and that's how you did that. But we don't just kind of sit around there with the loop over our eyes, just ogling at all of these. And some of you are old enough to have been those bikini supermodels back in the 70s and 80s that we were ogling over at Kimura Camera. Great place to get a camera repaired as well. Ken LG says, great plan for taking over the legislature part-time by changing the rules will cause party leaders to start sticking pins in your effigy. I want them to start sticking pins in the effigy, not FNG. Now, Keena McCausland says, good morning. Merry Christmas. For Keena, it is Christmas. She's out in Vancouver, Washington.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Where they are selling, what is it, Christmas afternoon? By now you should have already been to church and opened up some presents and stuff like that.
You'd already be almost drunk.
So yesterday, do I have time? Oh, no, it's 6:33. We'll go over yesterday's adventures here in a second. I took too long introducing the crowd, but I'm glad everybody is here and everybody managed to survive your partying process from Christmas Eve to Christmas Day. And now, 6:33, it's Thursday morning. Guess what? Go to work. There's work today. There's headlines, too, from the Guam Daily Post. Here's news with Montesilva Tyrant.
Former DOC Internal Affairs Officer Jeff Limo and others will be charged in the prison contraband case, will be sentenced in the Superior Court today. The officers, to include Jerry Hokuk and Edward Chrysostimo, were among several who pleaded guilty for their part in smuggling drugs and other contraband into DOC. Inmates Bruno Simmons and Sean Johnson will be sentenced as well for their part. Former Department of Corrections officer Jerome Timinglo San Nicolas also scheduled to plead guilty today in court. A motorcyclist was rushed to the hospital yesterday after he crashed his bike on Route 8 by the Mighty Payless. The accident took place around 2:30 in the afternoon, and the man was responsive and alert when he was transported. The crash had traffic at a standstill along that route while police investigated the crash. And the man who was allegedly assaulted by a Guam police officer will be back in court today. Jobert Carlos arrested after he was causing a ruckus at the beach, threatening to fight everyone. The court is waiting for a forensic evaluation to determine his mental state before he goes to trial. And those are some of your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. For more on these stories, pick up a copy of the paper or log on to their website at postguam.com.
Hey, it's 6:35 in the morning. Call iConnect. This is the last Thursday of the decade to give them a ring, 888-8888, and ask them about saving some money into the new decade with their mobile, their internet, even their push-to-talk plans.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Yeah, let me see if there's anything on the traffic gizmo. There was an accident earlier working on Route 10, somewhere just before you get to Wendy's on that road. Slowed a couple of people down, but my understanding is that by now it is all cleared up. We'll see if we can get you details on what exactly happened out there. There's not going to be a whole lot by way of traffic on the traffic gizmo reporting this morning because there is no school today for students in the Guam public school system and the private school system. So they're all sleeping in, or get them up early and have them start cleaning up from last night and yesterday's parties. But for all intents and purposes, should be clear running. Don't see anything getting out of the upper Jigo area into the lower Jigo, Dededo area, onto upper Tumon, into Tumon, Tumuning area. Everything seems to be running smooth. Central traffic on Route 4 and 8 looking pretty good right now, and the other central road, Route 17, is running clear as well, all the way into Big Navy. At 6:36, that's right now traffic here on The Point.
Want to grow your business? Start a new venture? Or stay ahead of the competition? You can. With Docomo Pacific Smart Business Solutions tailored to your specific needs and ambitions, you can do it all. Partner with a network with best-in-class network coverage, state-of-the-art communication platforms, and a team dedicated to providing you with premium support. Call 688-2677 to start your journey to success today. Docomo Pacific Business, delivering your future today.
Begin 2020 in style at Hyatt Regency Guam Resort. Party into the new year with entertainment and beachside views of the Tumon Bay fireworks at the New Year's Eve Countdown Party beginning at 10 p.m. Join the party early at 6 p.m. for Breeze's Dinner Buffet, a Polynesian and fire dance show, and get entry and free-flowing drinks at the New Year's Eve Countdown Party. For information about bottle service options or to make a reservation, please call 647-1234.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
6:38 in the morning. It is the Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be. Mike Side with Montesilva Tyron, and we got what's his name is Duke Sky Talker, Michael Knight, but between us all, there ain't jack going on today. I mean, take a look at the news and the big news stories, and apparently everybody behaved themselves over the last couple of days because there's not even a whole lot by way of brand new magistrate reports. However, and the reason why is because they had yesterday off, so anybody that got in trouble on New Year's or Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, we're not going to hear about any magistrates until probably after 3 o'clock. So anticipate that Mana will have that for you tomorrow. And then, yes, Mike?
I'm going to distract us with some psychology right now, but it's proof that familiarity breeds contempt, because now you're calling me the same thing my ex-wives call me.
What's his name?
What's his name?
Oh, what's his name?
Thanks, bro.
Hey, no problem.
I had to chuckle at that, too.
Who can forget? No, I was trying to do the Duke Sky Talker, and it wasn't going in. You know what popped into my head while I was trying to say Duke Sky Talker?
Can you say it on the radio?
Yes, I almost said Ken the food guy. And I don't even know why. There was, you know how you get a kernel of something in your head, and I'm not even sure. I'm having flashbacks or something like that. But there was food, there was eating. Maybe that's why, because we're talking about getting things cleaned up from yesterday, and I'm absolutely delighted because I cooked about 100 pounds worth of food yesterday, and I don't have any of it in my house anymore. Thank you, Mana took all of the leftovers.
Oh, I shared.
You did. You shared. Okay. So it was a deal. Yesterday I was in charge of cooking, and I feel like, and I got just folks, if you don't mind me, just I like to keep the program very personal. So indulge me just this. So years ago, I'd like to have everybody over to the house. And I noticed that after a while, people didn't, they started to bring more food when they came by because they didn't want to necessarily eat what I was cooking. Because invariably, I'd be barbecuing chicken and ribs, and somebody'd say, I don't think the chicken is supposed to be pink, Ray. I don't think there's, I don't think it's not like steak. You don't want it being bloody and rare when it comes out like that. And same thing with ribs and stuff. And so after a while, I got the message, and I just stopped cooking. So yesterday, we had our Christmas celebration at my pad out in Mongmong Totomite, as it turns out, is our old family house that I'm living in. And it was the first time that all four of the kids were in the house celebrating Christmas since before 1982. It had been that long since we were all together in that old house, and it was a terrific feeling. Everybody remembering Mom and stuff like that. But it was a delight to me because I cooked turkey, and I cook a ham, and I make stuffing and all kinds of other stuff, and everybody liked it. Or were you just saying it?
No, it was really good. I was very surprised because
see what I mean? She was very surprised. We already made arrangements over at the emergency room to have our stomachs pumped. As it turns out, we didn't need to have our stomachs pumped at all. Anyway, so I was so delighted about that. I just tickled that you guys were having a good time over at the house. But that was the last stop of the day. You also did in-law stuff as well.
Well, we did not in-law stuff. It was just stuff at our house with our because we're grandparents now, so it's got to be a place where our grandkids can come on Christmas morning and open their presents. So we had a little breakfast. I cooked for them and watched them open up their presents, and that was really nice.
Never gets old, does it? Watching little kids go through, just tearing through the papers.
I don't even think they care what's under the paper. They just want to.
I've opened a box.
Want to rip it.
Give me another one. I'll open everything this morning.
So next year everything's going to come from the dollar store.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to pay attention anyway.
Marilu Bersimmon says, good morning, running to burning the fat. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And I've decided that until I think the 2nd or 3rd of January, I think I've designated those as the cheat days. And at some point, somewhere between here and the 3rd or so, I'll decide on whether I'm running a full marathon or whether I'm going to run a half marathon. The difference is I need to train more for the full marathon, which is okay, because that means adjustments to the diets and to the diet and more actual training miles. So we'll watch and see.
We'll
how that
hold you
happens.
accountable, Ray Gibson.
Please don't. I'll just disappoint you. Who hurt you, Ray? My expectations hurt me. That's who hurt me.
It's like watching Troy Torres trying to quit smoking. You know what, buddy? Don't say it on the air, because
somebody says, you know, it feels like there ought to be a football game going on today. You're absolutely right. It does have that feeling. There was football. We're moving into the last weekend of the regular season of the NFL. Week 16 finally ended with a Green Bay defeat over the Minnesota Vikings. Called it. Yeah, so I'm good for 11. I'm good for 11 pick'ems over for the last for this penultimate. Radio people would like to say penultimate weekend of the NFL.
Yeah, the Cosinator was our winner for Week 16.
Nice.
He got 13. I have sent him an email, and he actually gets a choice between gift certificates, so he either gets Outback or Red Lobster and a T-shirt. Yeah, Week 17 doesn't look much easier than Week 16. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I did okay.
I'd gotten kind of a start on it.
Yeah, I got, let's see, I got 11 picks right last week, so not too bad, considering how poorly the second half of the games went. I was flawless through the first 8 games, and then, you know.
Yeah. The second set were a heartbreaker for me as well. 888-825-888-TALK is the telephone number around here. Rudy Magallanes asking, did you have a nice Christmas, Ray? Ray had a terrific Christmas, surrounded by people that I love. A couple of surprises in there, and that was a great way to do the Christmas holiday. And a programming note: I am out of town tomorrow. Chris Duenas will be in here, and he will take care of whatever it is that I do next to Mike and Mana. So expect him. It's a shortened, abbreviated program, so he's only going to go until 9 o'clock in the morning. And then we'll bring in some network programming from the States to fill in that last hour. So he'll take care of tomorrow's program, Monday, Tuesday. Of course, Wednesday next week is going to be New Year's Day, and he might want to come to work, but I guarantee nobody else will. So anticipate network programmings for the first of the year, and then it'll be Thursday and Friday. So you're going to miss me for about 5 days, but I think Chris is going to be fantastic. There's a lot. There will be, I think, by then a lot to talk about, and I think it's going to be very. I think it will be. It would surprise me if there were any Democrats or non-Republican guests in the program, or folks that he'll be talking to. I think there's.
Yeah, he should just call us all his former colleagues, and we'll have a little caucus.
You know, that could very well happen. that could very well happen.
It'd be fun to have our old friends together.
Especially given the number of former legislative colleagues that are now eyeing what we consider to be an abortion of a legislature in the 35th, going, oh, I can do better than that. Get me back in there. Get me back in there, and a bunch of other people that are asking.
Well, what are they doing to our party?
Thing. What's that?
What are they doing to our party?
That's right. Just a FYI, this is a party that, among others, our grandfather built. So if it comes down to it, don't make me come down. Don't make me go back there. We'll come back there and fix this thing the way he expected it to be run, as opposed to the beauty contest. I'm sorry to get deep into this. So Chris will be on the show tomorrow, and for the rest of the week, I'm going to be in other shores, trying new and different ways to entertain myself through New Year's. I've done all of the way we do New Year's here on Guam, so I want to see how it's done in other places. I was just thinking about that. 188 years old. Pam Duvall said the shirts will seem bigger. 188. And if I live that long, do you realize that I won't hit my midlife crisis until I'm 94 years old?
Wow.
There's something to look. Lock up your
and
daughters.
then you'll buy a
I'll
buy a Harley with a leather vest.
And I'll get a ponytail and an earring.
Can't wait.
Rudy
what are you trying to say, Ray?
Nothing. Nothing. It says, I love the way you pronounce. Rudy says, I love the way you pronounce my last name. You are one of the few that pronounce it right. It's Magallanes, and that is another pronunciation for those of you that have forgotten your history lessons. Another way to say Magellan. That's the way you do that. But it's funny. You tell people that in the Philippines, they go, really? Yeah, or like. Pick up a book. It's in the book, guys. Anyway, 640.
Most of them think it's just a street in Manila.
Could be down at Magallanes Way. 888-825-5888-TALK. Yesterday was a day, and talking about surprises. Yesterday was a day for videos. I don't know about you, but I woke up and my Facebook had been just bang, bang, banging all morning long. And I'm not going to complain about it. It's one of those things where you count among your friends the blessings that you get are among all of the friends. Some of whom you get to see every single day, and I'm lucky in that way. And then there's others that you don't get to see all the time. And it was a delight and kind of a surprise to get some Christmas greetings from people that I don't normally hear from on a regular basis, and certainly hardly ever hear from on Facebook and social media of all places. One of them, and this was such a delight, I actually saved this. One of them was from BJ Cruz. And BJ Cruz sent along a video, and I looked at it, and I just thought it was one of the sweetest things that I was going to see all day. So, yeah, indulge me. I'm going to play the video that BJ sent, and I think there might be a little bit of music on this. Let's find out. It's a pop-up book.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Now watch, as the reindeer run in front of the cardboard house, they run across the house in real life. That's the best. I don't know where you're going to find it, but BJ, thanks so much, BJ. I appreciate that, and Merry Christmas back at you. There was another one that I fell in love with, and I want to say I got this from Lee Weber, and if I didn't get it from Lee Weber, he certainly got it from me, because I'm pretty sure I bounced this off in his direction as well. Oh, now you got to start again. You got to understand what's going on. So it's a miniature plane with Santa Claus at the edge of the wing, and there are a bunch of what look like water bottles. I'm going to say they're water bottles. You might think there might be some white rum or tequila or vodka in them, but they're filled up to different levels, so they make different noise as the elf makes its way across. Look at this. Yeah. And then the pretend plane takes off. Now I'd have to look around for it. Excuse me. I'd have to look around for it, but I've seen that pretend airport somewhere before. There's some guy, the same way they put together that holiday train deal over at the Hilton. There's somebody that did the same thing for an airport, and it's based on a real-life airport somewhere, and they actually have a plane, the plane, all of the different activities that take place at an airport, but they actually have a plane that simulates a takeoff, and then it goes and flies around this big room where they have this thing, and then it simulates a landing of the same plane. So that's where the background of that thing comes from. Of course, now the idea that somebody put a elf at the end of the wing and some bottles to play the song, I think that just adds to the level of oh my gosh and creativity. Now that's not the only videos that we got yesterday. Now this next one here, Mike, we cannot play the audio on. And you'll see why in a second. No, in there you can hear it. You can put it in queue. but first thing I want to say, just as the critic here, is excellent job on the video. They shot it horizontally. They flipped the phone horizontally, and it's a nice panning shot of the accident that took place yesterday in front of where's that place? Payless. It's the Christmas motorcycle accident in front of Payless. But as we're beginning to learn here, there is not one person out in the world of civilian photography that can take a picture of something almost awe-inspiring without uttering some kind of four-letter word. And unfortunately, we can't play the audio on this because there is the uttering of the four-letter word, and I can't remember exactly where it's going to be. But the video, I thought, was actually pretty well done. So kudos for putting your phone in the horizontal manner so that we could see this. Road going up Route 8 towards Barragata Heights, just passing Payless. The smoke that you see is actually coming from the motorcycle as you pass by, and just a little ways down from the motorcycle, I don't think you can see, is the victim that's involved in that crash. So kind of, we get fingers crossed that everybody's okay. I guess he was conscious all the way through.
Yeah.
which was the word that we got. He kept trying to get up. Was what one eyewitness said. The guy was there and, he'd been in an accident. It looked like a hairy accident here, but he wanted to, I don't know, get up. My guess is he wanted to get up and check the bike. I'm okay. Let me go look at the bike. That's the only way I get around.
Unfortunately, I want to say that stretch of road, not just in front of Payless, but over toward like First Hawaiian Bank, is that stretch of road has seen some pretty bad motorcycle spills. So I think just people making a left turn or turning onto that roadway into the median, it just, it's just causing all kinds of craziness. So if you're on a motorcycle, just be cautious, especially in that area.
Did you see the other motorcycle video?
Oh, there's another one?
There is another motorcycle video.
Is it the same crash?
No, this one here, I think it's a case of road rage. It looks like...
Oh, I did see that
It looks like the guy on the motorcycle hits the 4x4, and then the 4x4, but hits the SUV, and the guy in the SUV, or maybe it's a girl in the SUV. I mean, I don't want to, there's some chicks you don't cross around here. There's ride or die babes, and so what, you hit my truck with something? And take a look at what happened. Again, I don't know if we can play any of the audio on this, but we'll play the video so that you can see it. It's all right. So there's the motorcycle running up run parallel. Looks like he hits the and bang. Now here's the thing that gets me is the guy on the motorcycle didn't crash. There might be some serious talent going on. It's not the longest clip.
What area is that?
It looks like Tao. It looks like coming around.
Check the plates on the vehicles. The word is that this is actually from Hawaii.
Oh, it's Hawaii?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it could be from here, but it's a great video to see anyway. Take a look at that. And so the guy gets hit by a car, and it doesn't drop him. And it probably would have killed him. He would have gone into the guardrails. Yeah. But I thought that was a terrific piece of video, and thanks very much for sharing that with me here on the program. 653-888-8255. Hava dude, it's Ray. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Never better. Thanks. Living the dream, my friend.
Living the dream. Awesome. Hey, thanks for being Guam's wake-up team, for sure.
You know what? That never gets old. I appreciate you saying that. I don't know if you see me. I'm turning red here, blushing with that.
Awesome. Hey, I wanted to ask you, and I know Mona brought it up last week or something about that GSA auction. I haven't seen anything on their website or anything. I was wondering where you found that information out.
Well, that was and I don't have the clipping anymore, but they had last week the inspections on all kinds of stuff, office furnitures and trucks and heavy equipment and things like that. So they had the inspections last week. Today is bid opening day. So,
okay, bid opening day. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I mean, yeah. I'm sorry if you didn't get enough information while I tried to talk about it practically every day in the last few days because there are people out here, Dean, and I'm telling you, it was amusing. I want to say it's the Ngoko family that went out and went to Tenden Gibetno on one of these garage sale days, picked up all kinds of heavy equipment, and these guys, I mean, they're motorheads from a long time ago, fixed it all up, and then the government of Guam needed some heavy equipment, and they had to rent from the Ngokos equipment that they already owned. It's just brilliant. What a great deal. So there might be some things, and it might still be some time for you to go down there, take a quick look at everything, and put your bid in. It's supposed to be kind of an auction thing today.
Yeah, correct. No, it used to be really quiet, and then when I heard you say it on the radio, I was just like, you're probably pretty else that you bid. Oh no, don't say that. No.
Don't tell everybody. They'll all go down there. But you're not the only one that was asking. There's another one that I think people are waiting for that the Navy is going to be doing, or that the Navy does on a regular basis, where they take some items that are just obsolete for their missions or beyond economical repair and set those aside. And I can't remember what that particular auction is or when it takes place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But
well, thank. Go ahead.
I was going to say thank you very much for bringing it up and good luck. Happy hunting today.
All right.
So, but while I got you in the air and nothing else major going on. Number one, how was your Christmas day? What'd you end up doing? And number two, what are your predictions for 2020? What do you think we might be looking at here in the coming year? You think there's anything that's in your head that goes, I can hardly wait for this to happen?
Oh my gosh, no doubt. I had a really nice day with my wife. We went to the Hyatt for brunch, which is pretty typical. So it was a nice atmosphere, good people, good surroundings, good.
Now, when you go, do they serve the mimosas to you? Do they leave the pitcher at the table?
used to be. Five years ago, they would give you that nice holder that they'd put the ice in and then put that bottle of champagne right at your table. No more.
They don't do that. So, is that? Did you do that? Are you the reason why they've changed? That's what I want to be. I want to be the reason why somebody changed their mimosa policies.
No, I do know the reason I think that happened, and this is, I'll try to say this real briefly. We were there about, I want to say 5-6 years ago, and there was, a family from another country that happened to be there, and the wife and husband were sitting there, and that's the thing. I think a lot of the people from Asia aren't familiar with mimosas or champagne in general, right? Yeah. So the wife ended up passing out on the table with her hand down near her food, and then all of a sudden I'm over there and I'm telling the waiter, I'm like, oh man, you better cut them off. All of a sudden saw the guy doing like a 360 in his seat, and honestly, this actually happened. I have a video and a picture of it, but he went plop with his face right into his soup, and then I quick ran over there. So that's just the best thing about living on. Isn't that the best thing about living someplace that's a cultural melting pot? That's just brilliant. Definitely. All right, just a couple of minutes left. So what do you think is going to be happening? Are you looking forward to something spectacular in 2020? What would you like to see happen? I would just like to see everything that you guys have been talking about, and everybody in general talking about on the island. Make some significant changes and make it better. Just have the people that have been elected do their job. That's all. That's it.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing to ask for. It's a nice request. I don't know if it's going to happen. I was kind of hoping that what would you like to see happen in 2020? Mass resignations. It's what we'd like to see in 2020. I want more anonymous letters here. Listen, I'm glad that you had a wonderful Christmas time, and thanks for starting off the second day of Christmas on Point Radio.
Thank you so much, Ray, and the team.
It's good seeing you. Good talking to you. I hope I see you out there someplace. Be safe. 6:59 and change on Solar Eclipse Day. Last chance to see, unless you, like me, intend to live another 130 years. That's the next time you're going to have a chance to see this annular eclipse of the sun. And we got details for you all morning long at a place where you can go join us and get your eclipse glasses. First 100 people indoor where Mike and I are going to be. We'll get the eclipse glasses. I've got a special pair I'll be happy to share with you. Anyway, 7 o'clock in the morning. Coming up, I got Fox News Live. Montesilva Tyrant's got more news from the Guam Daily Post. Jerry Roberts is in the studio. We'll take a look at how the market did, and I'd love to tell you about this, so I'm going to. There is going to be, for elementary, middle, and high school students, the stock market game. How would you do with $100,000 in the current market conditions? We'll talk about that in the next hour of the program. Stick around, Brown. This is The Point.
A presidential Christmas message. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Trump and First Lady Melania posting a holiday message on Twitter today.
We say a special prayer for those military service members stationed far from home, and we renew our hope for peace among nations and joy to the world.
The president and First Family are spending the holidays at his private resort in Florida. Last night, they attended a Baptist church service before hosting a Christmas Eve celebration at Mar-a-Lago. Congress is on break for the holidays, but the impeachment of President Trump awaits their return to Washington.
Speaker Pelosi is withholding the articles of impeachment to try to compel Senate Republicans to allow witness testimony in any impeachment trial. She tweeted, quote, "The House cannot choose our impeachment managers until we know what sort of trial the Senate will conduct." President Trump blocked his own witnesses and documents from the House and from the American people on phony complaints about the House process. What's his excuse now? Congress is out for the holidays, and so this impasse continues.
Fox's Rich Edson with the president in Florida. A woman and 2 children are dead in Boston after they were found on the ground near a multi-story parking garage today. Police aren't yet saying what caused those deaths.
As a mother, it was incredibly hard. This scene in particular, where there were 2 young children that lost their lives today.
District Attorney Rachel Rollins saying there are resources available to those who feel they might harm themselves or others. A fallen American soldier killed in Afghanistan has returned home. The remains of 33-year-old Sergeant First Class Michael Goebel arriving to a dignified transfer service today at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. The New Jersey native was killed Monday in a roadside bombing in northern Kunduz province. The Taliban has claimed responsibility for that deadly attack. America is listening to Fox News.
Cocoa Coffee Company is now available at Circle K. Single origin coffee beans carefully sourced and locally roasted to give you the freshest cup of coffee Guam has to offer. Grab a cup that's brewed every 30 minutes or purchase a bag of the locally roasted whole beans. Flavors now serving: light medium roasted Ethiopia and medium dark roasted Jamaican Blue Mountain. Exclusively available at Circle K. With every Cocoa Coffee Company purchase, a portion of the proceeds will go towards the Cocoa Recovery Program.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Kelaguen Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
Tensions remain high as the world awaits North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's threat of a Christmas gift to the U.S.
Many experts point to the end-of-year deadline set by North Korea for negotiations with the Trump administration as the real date to watch. Earlier this month, the president dispatched his top envoy to the talks to South Korea. But North Korea ignored Steve Biegun's visit to the Korean peninsula, and no talks were held with North Korea. As a result, U.S. Air Force reconnaissance aircraft have been flying almost round the clock over South Korea, monitoring for any signs of military activity or chatter from the Hermit Kingdom. Earlier this week, leaders from Beijing, Tokyo, and Seoul met in southwest China amid the increasing threats from North Korea. Russia and China have called on partial sanctions relief as a way to de-escalate tensions with North Korea. So far, the Trump administration has refused.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the Pentagon. President Trump and Democratic presidential hopefuls are weighing in after a federal appeals court ruled the individual mandate portion of Obamacare was unconstitutional.
While the White House is doing a victory lap right now, 2020 Democrats say it'll be short-lived. Former Vice President Biden has defended the law, although he says it does need some improvements. Progressive Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren believe it's time to move to Medicare for all. And in those spending bills the president signed last week, there was the repeal of 3 Obamacare taxes: the Cadillac tax, which is on high-cost employer-based plans, the medical device tax, and an annual fee on health insurance providers.
Fox's Lauren Blanchard. Some 600 surfers dressed as Santa chose surfboards instead of sleighs yesterday during an annual Christmas Eve surfing fundraiser in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Almost 10,000 people turned out to watch the 10th annual Surfing Santas event along Florida's Space Coast. That event raising $40,000 for a nonprofit that helps people with cancer. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
In life, we all have the ability to make a difference, to make an impact on someone's life. As we look around us, time never stops, but we are filled with endless moments of gratitude. The art of giving is incorporated in so many different ways. At Guam Gift Baskets, we want to be able to express your gratitude and love to those who you care about. Show your appreciation with a gift made with love this holiday season. Visit our website at guamgiftbaskets.com. See the smiles, touch their hearts, feel the experience.
Chili's 2 for $25 is back. Start with an appetizer to share. Then choose 2 entrees like our mouth-watering Old Timer with cheeseburger or the Cajun chicken pasta, grilled chicken with penne and Alfredo sauce, and chili spices. Feeling extra? Upgrade to a personal fajita or our famous half-rack ribs. Bring a friend or a date to Chili's and get 2 entrees for $25. Located on the 2nd floor of Tumon Sands Plaza. Chili's. More life happens here.
Day and good morning, Guam. It's 7:06. I'm Ana Silva Tyron, and here are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Former Department of Corrections Internal Affairs Officer Jeff Limo and several other officers will be sentenced today in the Superior Court of Guam. Jeff Limo, Jerry Hokog, and Edward Crisostomo all pleaded guilty for their part in smuggling contraband into the Department of Corrections. Their sentencing will be before Judge Anita Sokola. Also to be sentenced are inmates Bruno Simmons and Sean Johnson. They too will be sentenced before Anita Sokola. Former Department of Corrections officer Jerome Timinglo St. Nicholas will be in court again as well. St. Nicholas was to plead guilty in an earlier hearing, but his hearing was rescheduled because a drug test wasn't given to him before that hearing. It was just Tuesday that another person charged in the case received her sentence. Roxanne Hoko, charged with attempting to bring contraband into the Department of Corrections back in 2017, but because of her efforts to get clean and accept guilt, a Superior Court judge gave her 5-year suspended prison sentence and credit for time already served. The accident caused a traffic backup along Route 8 in Mighty for a bit yesterday while police and Guam fire medics responded to a motorcycle spill by the new Payless Market. Police have released few other details in their investigation, but a motorcycle driver was transported to the Guam Memorial Hospital. The accident took place around 2:30. GFD spokesman Kevin Riley says the driver was conscious and responsive. The lanes leading toward Barragata were closed as Guam police officers investigated the scene. We'll have more news after this.
Wow, nice smile. So perfect and all.
Thanks. I owe it all to Dr. Robert Yang and his smile team. They do wonders for a healthy, happy mouth.
Got teeth? Don't wait until they hurt. Schedule your routine checkup and cleaning with Dr. Yang and his smile team. Suite 119 in the East West Business Center, Upper Tumon. Call 647-8702 or 3.
The best thing that happened to teeth since toothpaste.
Dr. Yang and his smile team.
They make smiles happen.
Hey, what's that?
A Subway Big Hot Pastrami?
My big hot pastrami?
No, my Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Get your own.
Get your own Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Tender, juicy beef on freshly baked sunflower crunch bread, topped with pickles and mustard. Finish off your meal with all new seasoned potato wedges, baked to perfection right in the restaurant. Both available for a limited time only. Subway, make it what you want.
The man arrested in a viral video that led to several Guam police officers being investigated will be back in court today. Defendant Jobert Bozer Carlos pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease before Magistrate Judge Jonathan Kwan. Carlos is charged with criminal mischief as a third-degree felony, assault as a misdemeanor, and disorderly conduct as a petty misdemeanor. The court has been waiting for a forensic evaluation to be performed before accepting his assertion for a speedy trial. He's scheduled to be back in court today. Meanwhile, GPD's internal investigation on the arresting officer accused of assaulting Carlos continues. The FBI is conducting a civil rights investigation while the Office of the Attorney General continues to look into their criminal investigation. And 28-year-old Tamuning man spent his Christmas behind bars after he allegedly slammed a 14-year-old boy to the ground and choked him. Jonathan Robert Brown Jr., charged with family violence as a third-degree felony, family violence as a misdemeanor, and child abuse as a misdemeanor. The suspect denied choking the teen, but did admit to rushing toward the victim, grabbing him by his shirt collar and throwing him to the floor where he held him down. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is Ray with your weather.
I'll get around the weather in a second. I'm just reading the headline on a story here on CNBC. A reporter quits her job on the air after mistakenly claiming lottery jackpot.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Okay, that's a must-read. You can put that in the must-read pile. It's like if you won the lottery, would you quit your job? Well, not right away.
Not until I got cash in my hand.
Yeah, I get the cash in my hand, and it's just stick around and tick off the boss. Hey, wait a second, I'm the boss here. 7:11 in the morning. Partly cloudy with isolated showers. Expect winds from the east up to about 20 miles an hour, decreasing a little bit tonight. Highs near 88 degrees and overnight lows of about 77 degrees. If you just came to Guam and wondering why everybody lives here, this season, this time, yesterday, specifically at 5:45 in the afternoon, that feeling that you had where everything was cool and it was a nice dry breeze running across you, it is the absolute best time of the year. We will put up with all kinds of other stuff just to experience that one moment, just like we had yesterday. So that's what we got. Sunrise this morning was at 6:41. We'll have the most unusual sunset of your life. It will break the plane at 6:01, but not before it does is an incredible show. And Michael Nice found this. An example of what an annular eclipse looks like. So we should see that here on Guam. We should get that kind of totality.
That's right. And keep in mind, for those that aren't aware of the eclipse, they will be aware that the sun is not quite as bright as it usually is. Of course, they'll factor it into maybe clouds or something like that, and some of that could be true. But about 90 to 95% of the sun will be blocked out as we reach the totality of this annular eclipse. And when that happens, and that'll be at about 4:57 this evening, that's what it's going to look like through those eclipse glasses.
So it'll get a little bit brighter, and then the sun's going to go down.
And then things will start to wrap up. The sun will start to get brighter. Yeah, it'll start to set, but not before you get to see a really interesting spectacle that no one here will get to see for another, 5 million years.
No, it's 130 years.
Like I said, I'll be 5 million years.
I'll be 188 years old, and then we'll be talking about it. And your grandchildren, we'll talk just like you about going get your special night vision glasses or whatever it is that you need to watch the thing on. Taking a look at the weather radar while I got the gizmo up on the screen.
Do show a few little ripples of instability moving through. That's typical trade wind stuff. You know, you get these little waves of energy that just come along. They hit the water, kick it up a little bit, and squeeze out some showers. And also, we're in the transition of the diurnal cycle, so that always means, we get more showers in the nighttime than we do in the daytime. Those should dry up. We still might see an occasional shower here or there, but overall, it's going to be a real nice day. Plenty of sunshine, a nice breeze, about 15 to 20, and just isolated showers and those clouds from time to time. And again, that's what we can expect this evening at the sunset. Just maybe a few clouds here and there, but you should be able to see the sunset without any problem.
All right, and it's hard to say, where on Guam is going to be the best place to see this annular eclipse. I think just anywhere where you can see the eastern side of the island is going to be good. There might be some mountain ranges in the way, but they won't be in the way when we're clocking the sun, the actual eclipse.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you live down south, like in Talifofo and those areas on the southeast side, you're not going to be able to see much from over there because the sun's going to be down behind the mountains. So get on over to the other side, maybe the agate side, and go check it out. But say from Umatic all the way up to Ritidian, everybody will have a clean, clear shot. And especially up here, Teetson and Barragata Heights, and all of those areas, you'll be able to see it just fine. Just make sure you have the proper protection. I cannot stress that more.
Nah. No, we've already told everybody. Right glasses will be at the Sheraton. First 100 people that get there at 4 o'clock get their glasses. It's as simple as that. 7:14 in the morning. It's the Ray Gibson Show. That's news and weather together. Be right back.
What's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger-licking good.
Now I can talk. From now through December 31st, you can save almost $900 on a complete Kinetico non-electric reverse osmosis drinking water system fit perfectly at your house. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 to find out more. American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water. The Ray Gibson Show is also brought to you by American President Lines, APL Global Presence with a local home. The team over at Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your specialty care needs. And if you need to party out Ring Out 2019 and Ring in 2020. The place to be this year is going to be at Kento's. They're going to be celebrating the 10th anniversary along with New Year's, featuring live performances by InstaJam and Super Club and music provided by DJ Daryl Lizama and Ryan the Mixologist. General admission costs you $20. That gets you 2 drinks and appetizers, the champagne toast, and could get you nearer to a $500 balloon drop at midnight. I don't want you to miss this. December 31st, Kento's at the Hyatt.
Rediscover talk radio here. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
In Bible times, they lived to be hundreds of years old. It's possible that maybe there are some technological advances in medicine in the next couple of years that would allow us to still be here, all of us together, notwithstanding any other, cancers and diabetes and things like that, sitting around at 188 years old talking about the next annular eclipse. And me and Jerry Roberts and Mona Silva going, oh, I remember that from 2019. You guys remember the last time this happened? What do you think, Jer?
What number extra point would that be? I'm just trying to 340,000 or something.
Yeah, it'd be a huge number. Just retread them. Just retread them. Just go back. Yeah, there's something. Yeah, because every once in a while I'll hear an extra point and go, that sounds like something I read in Directions magazine about 15 years ago.
Might have been.
It might have actually been. I don't know. 7:17. Jerry Roberts in the studio. We'll get around to the extra point in a second. How was your weekend? How was your? What'd you do on Christmas Day, Batman?
Santa brought me a cold.
A what? Oh,
I never get them. I never get the cold, never get the flu, never get nothing, and bam, right there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I remember
Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, I remember.
And spreading it, right?
Yeah, well, no, I think he spread it. He was sneezing and hacking.
No, I think we both hit it at the same time. So wherever, somewhere along the line.
I guess that means we will never kiss again,
yeah,
right?
Never, not.
Use the soap in the
thing.
restroom. There's a reason why it's in there.
Well,
no, I didn't do
have I commended you on your decision to put double panes of glass between me and you?
Yes, yeah. Well, then
you
different air systems, airflow, air handling systems between your studio and mine. But I woke up the other morning with a thing that makes you want to go all the time, and a little bit dry in the mouth. And I thought, okay, I hope this goes away because Christmas. But as it turns out, Dayquil makes it go away. But it's amazing to me the number of people I'm running into that have got virtually the same thing that I do, and it's not hard enough to put you down with a fever or put you in a coma or make you go to the hospital. It's just an annoyance.
Annoyance is all of it.
Just one of those things.
For it, annoyance.
But so Santa gave you a cold yesterday. Did that stunt your activities?
Absolutely not.
You can't, right?
No, I mean you just keep going. That's it. You got kids. You keep going.
Well, the family get together was at my house yesterday, and so naturally I sweat this thing out. Starting at I woke up at 4 and started cooking at 5. Yeah, and we weren't going to get together until 1. And I had the math. I knew what the numbers were going to end up being, and so I figured, all right, well, I'll just finesse the heck out of stuff between here and there, and make sure the bathroom is clean and all of that. And it was so like Mana walks into the house. He goes, it smells good here. And I thought, what did you expect it to smell like? It was like, yeah, I'm a bachelor, but so what is you expecting him to smell like an outhouse or something?
So when I go to my siblings' houses, I walk around and do the inspection.
Yeah. It's just like, this room is clean, this room is clean.
I even open up the shower to make sure shower is clean.
No.
7:19 in the morning.
Terrible.
That's what you got.
Sorry, but
I passed the inspection. Did I not pass the inspection?
You sure did.
Do you do a white elephant?
I've done it, but I don't.
This year was the first year that our family has done a different white elephant. It was something I'm sure they picked up off the internet. Rather than just choose them and then you steal one or not steal one or something like that. This one, there were 3 or 4 options, and you rolled a dice, one die, and basically either you could pass it to the left, pass it to the right, you could steal one, or you could unwrap a gift. Those are the basic options. So as we're moving this thing back and forth, I had some looked like some really good gifts, right? And at the end, I came up with a hair straightener. But I have a very bright 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And he bartered it off for something else. For him. I don't know what it was, but it was for him.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is Mammon and the Archer. That beautiful story. 20 after 7 o'clock in the morning. Let's take a look at what happened on the markets. Last time they looked at this was Christmas Eve. Wasn't great. The S&P 500 closed off by less than a point. 32.23 is where the S&P 500 ended up. The NASDAQ is virtually unchanged. Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 36 points, which in the grand scheme of things is, it's flat, so it's all right. 28,515. The FTSE is up by about 8 points, 76.32. Nikkei is at 23,782. They lost about 47 points. Hang Seng Index at 27,864. They're off by 42 points. Shanghai Index off again by less than a point, 29.81 for them. And the DAX is trading at 13,300. They're off by about 17 points as well. On the commodities, gold trading at $1,504. They picked up $15 in trade. So as the stock markets move in one direction, we've got the solid money and bullion moving in the other. Not great news here happening with oils. You've been watching things begin to trade up for West Texas over the last couple of days. It was $60.70 on Christmas Eve the last time we were together. Now trading at $61.11. They picked up just short of 8 bits to go up. Tapis crude almost $1 higher, $71.99 the last time you and I looked at it. Today, $72.92. It picked up 93 cents in value on the Tapis crude. And as I said, we've crossed that 70 threshold, now moving 72, almost $73. I don't know how much longer the gas companies can maintain the same rate.
I would guess that maybe they held off just for Christmas, and maybe today's the day.
Could be. So if you're near low on the gas, put in the gas at whatever the price. What is it now? 724, 424.
414.
415.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And now with Bitcoin?
Yeah, Bitcoin's actually been holding its own for the most part over the past 5 days, right around 7,200. Did jump up to about 7,600 a couple of days ago. Settled back down now at $7,231.54.
7,000, how much?
$231.54.
All right, I'm going to check the Facebook, see what Rudy Magallanes has to say. He's one of those guys that like to look out for that kind of thing. 888-825-5880-TALK is the telephone number here on the radio station. I do have this from the Daily News here. Attention elementary, middle, and high school teachers and students. The question is, what would you do with $100,000? And the answer is, what can't I do with $100,000? They are going to get a bunch of people to play in the stock market game. Yeah. Which is wild fun if you got the right kind of kids and they're into paying that kind of attention to what's going on. Registration deadline is going to be January the 8th. You will play from January the 13th through the 10th of April of this year, and an opportunity for everybody to get involved. I don't know who's putting this together. It's smgww.org or call 472-6400 later on today. 472-6400 if you're a teacher or a student and you'd like to get involved in this. I did something along these lines. Not in high school. Yeah. I did something along these lines as a test a few years ago. I'd set up an account with $100,000 in it, and my theory was, how would I do if the only investments that I made were investments that we can see here on Guam? Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Pepsi, Budweiser. At the time it was Northwest Airlines, which wasn't good for my version of the stock market game. At the time it was Continental Airlines, and they're a little bit better than the Northwest because they're still kind of in business with the new guys over at United. But it would be interesting to see if I was a kid, if I had a kid in a program like this, I might recommend looking in those directions. Let's take a look at some of the businesses that we have here on Guam and start making investments based on their national owners.
They've been doing these things now for about 50 years, I think. I remember something back when I was in school. They had something similar to this. Not so many exchanges to deal with at that time.
No, for sure.
Stock exchange. But what I recall, that when I read a story years ago about this, that they gave a similar thing to the kids, and the kids beat the market.
I'll bet. Yeah. I'll bet.
Yeah.
I mean,
just choosing stuff left and right that they liked, and they did whatever research they did, and they beat the market.
And it kind of makes sense when you do something like that. It's probably the same reason I'm doing so well with the football pick'ems. Because I don't know anything about football. I mean, there's all of this other, you'll get lost in the analysis of it, and basically I look at it like this. We'll see how the teams rank and how the stats work for the teams. I don't know anything about their quarterbacks or their defensive line or their offensive line. I don't know any of that stuff. So I just go on the stats, and if they stat out the same, then whoever's playing at home, and if that doesn't make any sense, then just flip a coin.
That's more effective than the way you were your methodology to start the season, which was just pick the team with the prettiest colors.
Exactly, pretty colors. And then there was the other one is what kind of what's the mascot, right? Is it a feathered mascot? Because the feathered ones always win. No, it didn't work out that way. Anyway, 7:26. I'll take a look at a couple other businessy things, but Jerry Roberts is in the studio. We'll get started on time with today's Extra Point, being brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and the team over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Here's a question you don't hear very often. Are you mentally strong? I can't imagine anyone who would want to answer that with a no. But today, 13 ways to know that you are strong. Buckle up. This could get bumpy. Next, on the Extra Point.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
We buy a homeowner's policy and never give it another thought until something happens. Life brings changes, and our coverage needs can change. The smart thing to do is get the answers and level up our insurance to make sure we're totally protected.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
Ever notice how that one perfect holiday gift is just out of reach? Or how sales on the stuff you want all come at the same time? This season, plan ahead with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. Now you can afford to be nice without being naughty. For more details, visit FHB.com or any branch to apply. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Mentally strong people have healthy habits. They manage their emotions, thoughts, and behaviors in ways that set them up for success in life. So says Amy Morin, a psychotherapist and author of the book 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. Let's see how many you can check off your scorecard. Number 1, they don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. No moaning and groaning about their circumstances or how people have treated them. They know life isn't always fair, and they accept responsibility. Number 2, they don't give away their power. They don't allow others to control them. They are in control of their emotions and choose how they respond to people. Morin says that when people are unkind to us, that's on them. If we choose to feel like a victim, that's on us. Number 3, they don't shy away from change. Mentally strong people don't avoid change. They welcome it. Change gives them an opportunity to show how well they can adapt. 4, they don't waste energy on things they can't control. Traffic jams, long lines, lost luggage. What they can't control, they don't grieve for. What they can control is their attitude. Number 5, they don't worry about pleasing everybody. They strive to be kind and fair, but understand that once in a while, somebody will be unhappy for some reason, and they can handle that. Number 6, they don't fear taking calculated risks. They don't take foolish risks, but carefully weigh the positives and negatives and then decide. 7, they don't dwell on the past. Ouch. A lot of people are bitten by this one. We wish things could somehow be different, and we play bad movies in our heads over and over and over again. The strong acknowledge their past, say what they've learned from it, and apply the lessons to make the future better. Make the present and the future better. Number 8, they don't continually repeat their mistakes. This means they indeed did learn, that they've reconciled with their past and have moved on. 9, they don't resent the success of others. No jealousy or feeling they've been cheated by life. Instead, they appreciate and celebrate the achievements and good fortune of other people. They know if they work hard, their time will come. Number 10, they don't give up after a first failure. The strong don't view failure as a reason to give up. They see failure as a stepping stone to success. 11, they don't fear alone time. Mentally strong people are fine being alone, and silence doesn't bother them. They can be happy being on their own and be productive. 12, they don't feel the world owes them anything. They look for opportunities based on merit. And number 13, they don't expect immediate results. They work hard, work smart, do their best, and know that good results take time. So, how did you do? Grab Extra Point 474, the transcription thereof at guamtraining.com, and go over the list again. Maybe print it out and have some fun with it at work today. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today for 93.3. The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
I wouldn't say I dwell on the past, but the music was so good back then. You know, so it's all right every once in a while. You turn on your Spotify, pull up your playlist from 1977, and just go, yeah, that was a good time to be alive. And remember, you know, and obviously you're going to get washed over with all of the great memories that you have, and maybe one or two of the ones that that got away, or things that you should have apologized for, things that you think somebody should apologize to you for that never got reconciled. But every once in a while, it's nice to sit in the warm bath of nostalgia.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Something you just brought up. If you go back and you begin to thinking, the music takes you there, and these thoughts come up about people, what do? You write their names down and call them. If you haven't talked to them for 10 years,
yeah.
You call them up, Happy New Year, etc., whatever. Yep. And maybe someone needs to apologize, and maybe you can be the one.
Well,
because sometimes
the vehicle for
people
that.
come apart and nobody apologizes, and after a while they forget what it was they pulled them apart in the first place. And then somebody says, I'm going to be big about this. I'll be the one.
Yeah.
And, oh, thank you. I missed you. And,
I was hoping you'd say something like that. And so that's the deal. So here it is. As we approach the New Year's, the turning of the decade, as it were, I don't want to go into 2020 with any hard feelings. So if you owe me an apology, 888-825-5. I can start taking those calls on the air right about now. It's Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point at 7:32. It's brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and the folks over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. Right now, news from the Guam Daily Post with Mana Silva Tyron. Lolita Kamet is bringing you that. She works over at Remax Diamond Realty. You want to buy, you want to sell, you want to maybe a piece of property, maybe just some advice on doing a little bit of real estate investment on Guam. It's possible. Call her at 688-6743. Again, Lolita Kamet, 688-6743.
Guam residents may have been tuned in to developments on the Korean Peninsula, but none have seemed phased with this while the United States flew 4 surveillance planes over the Korean Peninsula over the holiday. The move comes after North Korea threatened to give Washington a Christmas gift unless the U.S. makes concessions in nuclear talks with the country. They are to be the latest to be sentenced in the contraband case at the Department of Corrections. Several DOC officers who've pleaded guilty are scheduled to appear today. Jeff Limo, Jerry Hokog, Edward Crisostomo are of those on the court calendar today. Also as are inmates Bruno Simmons and Sean Johnson, who are to be sentenced. All are being charged with smuggling contraband into DOC back in 2017. And the condition of a man injured in a motorcycle crash yesterday isn't known. The man was on a motorcycle that crashed in front of the Mighty Payless on Christmas afternoon. He was rushed to GMH and was conscious at the time. Police are investigating that incident. And those are some of your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. For more on these stories, log on to their website at postguam.com.
All right. And in the story that we were talking about earlier, a reporter found out that she won the lottery and quit her job on the air. It's a great story. Spanish TV reporter Natalia Escudero screamed into the camera saying, "I'm not coming to work tomorrow," as her name was announced as a winner of the Spanish lottery, the biggest lottery in the world in terms of total prize money offered. You get that? It's the biggest one in the world in terms of total money, prize money offered. But the reporter celebrating was put to an end when it turned out she had actually been awarded just 5,000 euros, about 5,500 American, out of the lottery's total prize pot of 2.24 billion euros that it had doled out this year. Escudero, who works for the national broadcaster RTVE, later apologized on Twitter for her reaction, saying she's been going through some difficult times for personal reasons. So, yeah, she hit the lottery, but she got a small share. It's one of these things where 80 gazillion people got the same numbers or something like that, and so her
She's
take
a
was,
reporter. Of course she's going through hard times.
Yeah, it's, eating ramen all the time.
Yeah.
So for those of you
Unless
that are,
you work for like some huge network.
yeah, it's not something that you're going to want to do on camera. 7:35. Now, for those of you that are looking at ways to pay off whatever bills that you've been able to put together this holiday season, the jackpot, the Guam jackpot, you can buy tickets for it over at Payless. Jackpot is, I want to say, $12 million.
Oh, I'm not coming to work tomorrow.
Tuesdays.
Oh, wait, I got to buy a ticket first.
Tuesdays was $12 million. Today's is $12 million. So that's the lucky jackpot. That would take care of almost all of the expenditures. I still don't know how it works. I was Christmas Eve. I was buying some stuff, getting some loot over at Payless up in Mighty, and I passed. There was a couple that had passed me by, and it looked like they were going to the counter, the service counter, where they've got the gizmo to buy your tickets. And I was kind of wanting to lurk and stand over their shoulder if that's what they were going for, to see how it was done.
I don't think you need to know how it works. You just buy the ticket and someone will tell you if you won.
Yeah, but do I pick the numbers? When we buy because in the States, in the States, you go to the gas station, you buy a lottery ticket, and the numbers are already pre-printed. At least in the ones that I played when I was in North Carolina.
I think that's how it works at the Payless one too.
Yeah,
they're pre-printed. I don't think you pick your own. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but I don't think so.
See, that's neither one of us have ever had $9 to spare.
I did. I bought a ticket once before.
But
usually a lottery by law has to give you an option of
random
either picking numbers or
who
a
follows
quick pick.
the law around here?
So,
but I don't know. I'm looking on the Facebook to see if there's anybody that's got any experience doing something like that. So Facebook livers, chime in, report. Let me know how that works. What's the process? Because it's Thursday. They haven't done the drawing for tonight yet, and it is possible.
I bet you Mark Mendiola knows.
Yeah.
Is he online?
I did not see his name yet this morning, but we'll see what he's got. My buddy Renee sending me the write-up. It's got some instructions on it, but not the ones that I'm looking for. 7:36, be right back. It's iConnect time. Run to the nearest iConnect and ask them about saving some money in the coming decade, 2020, right around the corner. And you need to go in there with an economical plan for mobile and internet and push-to-talk, and they can do that for you at iConnect.
Lolita Cammett from RE/MAX Diamond Realty, a friendly, hardworking, and passionate RE/MAX professional who is committed to helping you make a difference in your life and helping you achieve the American dream of home ownership. She also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, military, and corporate relocation. So for all your real estate needs, call Lolita Cammett from RE/MAX Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so Renee sent me a write-up here, and the ad says Thursday's jackpot is $12 million. Saturday's jackpot is $18 million.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Now, they apparently have a $27 Christmas package on sale today until 6 o'clock. The ideal late Christmas gift for somebody is buy them a lottery ticket. All right, 7:38. Still don't have anybody with the explanation on it on Facebook Live. Yeah, we're all poor and broke and can't afford to spend money on lottery tickets. Where to now? Into the traffic gizmo. I don't anticipate there's going to be a whole lot of traffic at all today. My guess is there might be a little bit over at the department stores and places like that. One of the things that Mono was pointing out earlier is today is Take Back Thursday.
Well, and I might have been a little wrong there, but it's called Boxing Day because I looked it up just to see if my memory was correct. So it's Boxing Day is when you go and you get all kinds of sales, the after Christmas sales. So the stores are trying to get rid of some of their items.
But isn't it also the day everybody takes their stuff back?
Well, it can be. Boxing Day is actually what Canada calls. It's basically avoids calling it Christmas. Boxing Day being you put Gibson boxes and give them to people.
Yeah.
Because I was looking it up, I'm like, what was the significance of the day after Christmas? But also, it's popular for people to go and return the gifts that they got on Christmas
Absolutely.
Day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not returning anything, just FYI. I loved everything I got. This is one of my favorite gifts, and thank you, Wen. Wen went and had
very nice.
Right? It's what do they call it? It's a Hydro Flask coffee mug. And she says, you drink 4 cups of coffee, right? She says, and this will hold 4 cups. Thanks, Wen. I appreciate it. And she had it, I think she did this over at Local Promos. They were able to take the radio station logo and my name and actually engrave it on this thing.
That's very nice.
So this will, for all intents and purposes, will be my forever coffee conveyance from here on out. Now, there's supposed to be traffic. That was the music bed that we were playing earlier for you. And I don't see anything major here today. A little bit of traffic coming up the hill. Down the hill over at the Weston. Doesn't look like we've got any major uphill traffic that is working through there right now. Don't see any accidents. It doesn't mean there aren't any. It's just not big enough yet to show up on the traffic gizmo. Nothing major down all the way into Sumai, so kind of enjoy the drive here this morning. 7:40 right now, traffic on the point.
Want to grow your business? Start a new venture? Or stay ahead of the competition? You can. With Docomo Pacific Smart Business Solutions tailored to your specific needs and ambitions, you can do it all. Partner with a network with best-in-class network coverage, state-of-the-art communication platforms, and a team dedicated to providing you with premium support. Call 688-2677 to start your journey to success today. Docomo Pacific Business, delivering your future today.
Yep. 7:41 in the morning. It's the day after Christmas. When is the appropriate time in the radio game to stop playing Christmas music? When I was programming top 40 stations, it was midnight Christmas. That's it. After that, no more Christmas music. We've been playing it steady since Thanksgiving, and I think that's plenty. But conventional wisdom in 2019, 2020 for guys in the radio game is you keep that feeling going. You keep that groovy holiday feeling going for as long as you can.
Yeah, for me, but New Year's is kind of the cutoff point, I think, you know. And since we start playing Christmas music here in Guam in September anyway, you know, why not just stretch it out another week?
Well, I knew. Who's going to get upset about that? 19 away from the top of the hour, 888-825-5888-TALK. The vast unpaid research department of the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 is the folks on Facebook Live. Rooster chimes in and says, with regard to the lottery tickets, which will help us solve all of our problems. $12 million is the jackpot for tonight. $18 million is the jackpot for Saturday. I don't know that there has ever been one single winner in these lotteries. I know that there have been a few guys that have gotten themselves several thousands of dollars, but they've had to share basically the shared winnings from among a bunch of different people. Rooster says you can choose your own numbers, or you can just tell the clerk to do a quick pick for you, and then so it works both ways. You can go in with the ages of your kids, or your social security number, or your high school locker combination, and try that. 36624, by the way. Somebody try that. I don't have any money to do it myself, but if you want to try it, use Ray's Lucky High School, my senior. Don't ask why. 40 years later, I still remember the combination to my lock at Father Duenas.
Oh, wow.
36624 was the number. So try that out and see if that makes you a winner. Smug says, time to buy a ticket. And Rooster says, I prefer the latter. So you would prefer that the machine kicked out the random numbers for you. All right, that's cool. Smug says, maybe we can have a Fest Pack lottery. The winner gets $350,000. Smug also referring to Reboxing Day. There's Wen saying good morning and a thumbs up to everybody. I'm going to send, what are you saying? Sorry, my clicker is going too fast. I'm going to be, Keenan McCausletts, says, I'm going to be seeing you with 20/20 vision. Is that what, are you coming to Guam? Is that what you're saying? Since when has wisdom been conventional? James Howard, 35-5-24. It is a beautiful day in a neighborhood, Mr. Raymond's neighborhood, as a matter of fact. All right, so where are we now? 7:43 in the morning, and make our way through the day after Christmas. And I think there was a whole bunch of folks that had exciting Christmas days. And note that we don't always celebrate the same way. We don't always mark the day the same. And I think that's one of the things that we notice. Our culture changes a little bit as we evolve and meet up with kind of modern times around here. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, as the family was all gathered, one of the other Catholic Christmas traditions is the baby Jesus. When I was an altar boy, many years ago, that became one of the jobs. We do the holiday mass, and the last detail. And it was great because we lived in Agana at the time. Me and my best buddy, Rudy Duenas, were the two altar boys that lived in the neighborhood. So our job was to take the little baby Jesus, the Niño Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. And take that and walk the baby around the village. And so you'd go and people would go and yingy the baby. Yeah. You give it a nice little emotional sniff on the baby, and then somebody will put a couple of dollars in your pocket or something like that. And that was about the coolest thing. And again, remember, this is me and my buddy Rudy in Agana in the 1960s, early 70s.
And then folks hear them coming because you got the
bells. You got a big bell. You got to ring a bell. And so Rudy and I love this because we were the only two people who lived in Agana. Back in those days, there's virtually no residents. So it was a quick run up over by Hulali, make the turn, come on back, and visit a bunch of old peoples and get a couple of dollars. We never raised a whole lot of money, but we were able to get it done usually in a space of about an hour, and that meant that we could spend the rest of the day goofing off with our Christmas presents. But yesterday in the village, MTM, I heard the bell. And I told everybody, I said, okay, the baby Jesus is coming, so get ready, everybody. We're going to go outside and we're going to kiss the baby Jesus. And whoever here has folding money, bring that, because I didn't have any folding money. Thank God Shelley had money. And so the baby comes out, and we're all waiting at the door, and Mana's in the bathroom.
You know what? Stop there.
What? I'm not saying anything else. I'm just saying Mana. So Mana missed the whole experience because it went faster yesterday. And I don't know if it's like this in your neighborhood. I don't know if it's like this in your well. But guys,
my neighborhood is your neighborhood.
They were in a truck. The guys were in a truck. They weren't walking around. They weren't little altar boys in their cassocks walking around the village. They were in a truck.
And then they got out of the truck.
Then they ring the bell.
Okay,
and,
they do that.
You stop them and they pull the car over and then everybody gets out. And it occurred to me while I was doing this, I'm wondering out loud, how do I know they're from the church? I just kind of assumed that it's just a bunch of people with a bell and a little baby Jesus. It could have been. I could have been.
Did you ask for credentials?
Scams. So I don't know. But like I said, it's just kind of interesting the way things change and catch up with modern times. Who knows? One of these days they'll just do it with an app, and after church they'll
you also have to highlight the point that
message.
This was Mayumi's very first time to experience the Niño.
She raised primarily educated among the Baptists, and so they've got a whole different kind of routine for Christmas that doesn't involve altar boys walking around the village with a little baby Jesus. And I'm not much of an example. I forgot. I had one of those performance anxiety moments when the guy's actually holding the baby in front of me.
Did you genuflect?
And I but I genuinely forgot where I was supposed to smell the baby. There's some people.
I'm afraid to ask.
Yeah, they kind of nudge you towards the kneecap. At least the kids were doing that yesterday, but I didn't know. So I kissed the baby on the head like I would if it was one of my babies. 7:47 in the morning. Bringing the Niño Jesus around the village is a 4-man job now. Baby carrier, bell ringer, money box holder, and stick-wielding person to knock the stray dogs away from you. Yeah, the job has certainly grown over the years, hasn't it, Rue? You got the telephone numbers. Don't be shy about using it. There's some interesting things in the news here. Not a whole lot of interesting news. This is one of those days where you look at the vast resources of journalism in front of you and you go, that's it? That's all we got for today? Was it the day after a major holiday and a day after 2 holidays, as a matter of fact, depending on who you are and where you work. We got yesterday off because it was the holiday. Day before that, we also worked, but I felt like we were just a handful of people that were keeping the economy going on Tuesday because it was a government of Guam holiday, and Donald J. Trump, who's going to get reelected in 2020, prove me wrong, also made it a holiday for federal employees. So I left the radio station at noon and got into traffic, and I was surprised at how much traffic it was. But it went away as soon as I passed Kmart. And it occurs to me, outside of a couple of magistrate stories and things like that, listen, this is all we got now is the interesting stories, interesting observations about what took place yesterday. I thought what I do in that case, and it's not the first time I've hit a day after the holiday where you sit around and go, gee, what are we going to talk about if I don't have any actual hard news out there? What we talk about on days like that is we start looking forward. And in the same way that I had Dean on the air in the last hour, asking about his predictions for 2020, there's other people I'd love to talk to and get their guidance, their thoughts on what 2020 is going to bring to us. And among my favorite Republicans in the whole wide world, and it ain't Christmas unless I at least think about the sheer number of Christmas trees that this guy has to walk around in his house. Frank Bloss Jr. joins me now. Hafaderu.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and the entire family. How are you doing today? Because my recollection is that there is virtually every night there's a big food thing going on over at the house by way of Christmas, and then it gets to be Christmas Day and there's even more food. So are you just hobbling around? Are they rolling you from room to room?
Oh no, you learn to control that. You know, that's called experience as a result of having to do it every year.
Yeah. I got you. Yep. So I'm just kind of curious. Now, first one is going to be rumor control, and I don't know what Mike told you when he convinced you to get on the radio with me this morning. But first one is going to be rumor control. I am told that you are now among 3 names that will be vying for the position of congressman in the upcoming election. Tony Babauta is one of them. Regine Biscoli is another, and you are the sole Republican name that I've heard so far.
Well, you know.
Right.
Did you hear that? In politics, you'll never say no. Right now, it's no.
Right now, it's no.
Yeah. Right now, well, you know.
Do I need to ask? Can I ask Tilly?
You can ask her, and she's going to say, no way.
No way. No, I thought you out of the political game. Well, but it's interesting that your name comes up here. I think there might be some among the party that see the differences. That normally there are differences in the Democratic Party to begin with, but I mean, it just seems to me now that they are ground in between the deep state Democrats, that's what I like to call them, and the Democrat, I suppose, in name only with Mike Sinnicklis, who turns out to be more of a fiscal conservative than even some of the staunchest Republicans that I've seen these days.
And Mike is fiscally conservative. That's the way that's the way he operated too as well in the legislature. I understand that. But that said, is in the future, there is rumors that people have asked if I was going to be running, and I said no. Right now, I've got a business. I've got a contender.
Yeah. Right now. Right now. So if I ask you the question in February, March, do you think it'll be different?
Let's wait until February, March. Right now.
yeah, but I got to kill time on the radio today. That's my thing.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so do you want me to speak slower, or do you want me to change the subject?
See, that's why I love this guy. Childhood friends, as a matter of fact. This is one of the first faces I ever remembering being able to remember when we were little kids at the daycare place. That's how far back we go. At any rate, no, I don't want you to talk slow or anything like that. We will meander into something. But the same way that we can talk about politics in our party, I think it's fun for guys like us as Republicans, as conservatives, to talk about some of the distinctions and the differences that are going on in the Democratic Party. Do you see things the way I do through that lens? That Mike Sinnicklis is just, he's too much of a disruptor for the deep state Democrats. Is that not interesting and a little bit entertaining to you?
It makes the popcorn taste better.
It makes the popcorn taste better.
Yeah, and you can savor it a little bit more. I a lot of times I don't want to say, okay, that's a huge problem they have on their side, but politics being politics on Guam, I stop the bickering and let's move on. Let's, we got to find a way to be able to work together.
You know what? I remember early in the process asking other political pundits about their advice, and the advice that I got from among one of our elder statesmen around here was, you guys have got to work together. You got to go to Washington D.C. with a single voice. I mean, the majority of our problems will need to be solved in Washington D.C. All the stuff we got to do here on Guam we can handle, but we've got to go to Washington D.C. and it's got to be the same voice through the governor's office, through the Attorney General's office, through the Congressman's office, and through the legislature. Everybody, I mean, a point one is the Metatron, the big voice of the island of Guam, and that's the one that we talk to. But it just seems like there's every opportunity for division and disagreement is we've got to get through that before we can start talking. I mean, the governor's office last week puts out a statement with this Medicare funding now that the spending bill has been passed, and they put out a message, thanking the bipartisan support in Washington D.C. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that measure, the Guam part of the measure, wouldn't have gone anywhere had not Mike Sinnicklis worked hand in hand with the other territories, including Puerto Rico, that wanted something different.
Yeah, and because of the immensity that's Washington D.C., what a lot of people don't understand is it's huge, and the trick over there is making sure your voice is heard. But when your voice is heard, it says you're singing the same tune, and that's where the challenge may be. And now, obviously, that is where the challenge is at. That said, though, is we've been pretty successful before, and I remember going to D.C. and all my time I was going to D.C. I would have to work with a Democrat congressional representative, but really it's just a matter of the communications, and I appreciated that we worked in unison in many of the cases. And that it has to happen. You can't have it any other ways, because then Washington D.C. has a tendency of being able to say, "Well, wait a minute, your neighbor down the street said otherwise, and you're singing a different tune." You know, like I said, when you guys solve your issue, then come back to us. And I don't want that to be the question.
Well, I'm worried that's going to happen with something that you are very, very close to, just on your own volition, but because of your father as well, and that is seeing to the needs of the last of the surviving members of our community from the Second World War. I'm very, very concerned that the actions of the legislature and soon to be signed off by the governor, I suppose, could actually derail the work that Mike has already done in Washington, D.C.
Well, that and otherwise, you know, I like many other people to question where's the funding going to come from, and you know, how's this process going to work?
We don't know. We don't know. It was fleshed out. We got the bones of it, but there's no meat on any of the bones in the legislation.
You know, and when you put too many ingredients into the pot, you know, the soup starts to taste a little different.
Yeah.
So you got to be very careful. Very careful. You know, I was concerned at the speed that it went through. You know, for lack of a better term, and without getting into any further discussion as to how it got through. But you know, that said, is okay. You know, what's on the horizon? What's next?
I guess we get to go and work with the Department of the Treasury, and the Treasury is going to say, but we've already got to fix. There's already a measure moving through Congress.
A week earlier than that, the administration came out and says, no, we do not have a $22 million surplus. That's all going to pay down, you know, debt that was owed.
Yep.
This part of the debt that was owed, and $22 million, that's not enough. How is this whole thing going to get vetted?
I don't know. I'm with you. I thought. Wait a second. That was all supposed to go and pay down the deficit, but now they've identified lapsed funding for 2000 in the FY19 budget as target. And I'm wondering which budgets in the FY20 budget, which of those departments and agencies are going to have to suffer transfer authority to make sure that these ends meet. While in the meantime, we've got legislation that should have already been working through Congress. Anyway, so fun story, and like I said, you know, just shows what the differences are, and this one here is alarming, but all the rest of the time I want to say it's entertaining. 7:58 and change. Your prediction for 2020. What would you like to see, Darrow, in 2020?
A better year than 2019. You know, we've got a lot of opportunity that's ahead of us. There are a lot of things that we can fix together as a community, that we can create together as a community, and you know, okay, let's stop the bickering, let's start the listening, let's start working together, and we can make it a better year.
Yeah. 2019 $1 billion budget. What do we got to show for it?
Yeah, you know, you eventually got to. There's got to be flowers on that tree that you're planting, and what kind of a fruit is going to be there?
Right?
Are we going to care?
I get it. Should have been the most productive time. You and I had this conversation at the beginning of all of this, thinking, well, you know what? All right, the Republicans might not have gotten the majority, might not have been a bad time, but you know, we got women over here, we got a woman over there, we got Democrats over here, we got Democrats over there. Should be the most productive time with the harmony of interest, but I ain't seen it yet. 7:59 and change. Darrow, big kiss to the family. I love you, mean it. I'll see you soon.
All right, buddy.
All right.
You take care.
You know I will. The radio station is KUSG. Got ya. 93.3. This is The Point.
Holiday impeachment plans. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Trump and his family are spending the holidays at his private resort in Florida. Earlier today, posting a Christmas message on Twitter.
At this sacred time of year, Christians celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and rejoice in his love for every person.
After the new year, the president and lawmakers will have to deal with the ongoing impeachment process.
Congress left town last week, but House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's decision not to send those impeachment articles to the Senate, at least not yet, remains quite controversial. President Trump blasted Pelosi for the move on Christmas Eve.
She's doing a tremendous disservice to the country. She's not doing a good job. And some people think that she doesn't know what she's doing.
The Speaker is not holding back either. She defended her decision in a letter to her colleagues last week, writing, quote, "It now remains for the Senate to present the rules under which we will proceed. We can then appoint managers. The vote on the floor was overwhelming and inspiring, and the number of people who want to be managers is indicative of our strong case."
Fox's Mark Meredith in Washington. A homecoming today for a decorated Special Forces soldier killed in Afghanistan.
Sergeant First Class Michael Goldberg returned to Dover Air Force Base earlier today on Christmas morning. The 33-year-old Green Beret from Bergen County, New Jersey, is the 20th American killed in combat in Afghanistan this year. He was a member of the Army's 7th Special Forces Group and received 4 Bronze Stars in his career and deployed to Afghanistan 3 times. The Taliban claimed responsibility for killing the Green Beret when his vehicle was bombed in northern Afghanistan earlier this week. The Taliban are also in peace talks with the Trump administration.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the Pentagon. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu briefly evacuated to a bomb shelter during a campaign event in the southern city of Ashkelon today after rocket alerts were sounded. The Prime Minister did return a short time later after the all clear was given. America is listening to Fox News.
Did you know that home loan rates have plunged again? Would you like to take advantage of these lower rates to help lower your monthly payments? Refinancing doesn't have to be for another 30 years. It can be for 10, 15, or 20 years. It's up to you. Reduce your monthly payments. Pay off your loan earlier. At Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender. Credit conditions apply.
Begin 2020 in style at Hyatt Regency Guam Resort. Party into the new year with entertainment and beachside views of the Tumon Bay fireworks at the New Year's Eve Countdown Party beginning at 10 p.m. Join the party early at 6 p.m. for Breeze's Dinner Buffet, a Polynesian and fire dance show, and get entry and free-flowing drinks at the New Year's Eve Countdown Party. For information about bottle service options or to make a reservation, please call 647-1234.
Boston police are investigating the deaths of a woman and 2 young children found unresponsive outside a Northeastern University parking garage. All 3 were pronounced dead after being taken to a hospital. District Attorney Rachel Rollins says there are resources available to those who find themselves in desperate situations.
On Christmas and in the holiday season where many people are celebrating, it can be a challenging and difficult time.
Investigators haven't yet said how the 3 died. A man killed a woman in North Philadelphia today, stabbing her repeatedly. Police say he chased her outside the home at one point in an attack that also critically injured a 14-year-old boy in the house. 5 other children were in the home at the time but not hurt. The suspect is in custody. Investigators say he was drinking heavily and began arguing and fighting with other guests at a family party. Police continuing their search for 2 missing Idaho children.
The FBI and police are working hard this Christmas Day on the urgent national search for these missing children who are believed to be in danger because they have been missing since September. The parents who are in a religious cult are missing too, and their ex-spouses both died within the past 6 months. As for their children, 7-year-old Joshua Vallow was adopted. He has autism, and he was last seen at his elementary school in Idaho in September. And 17-year-old Tylee Ryan was last seen that month too. Relatives reported them missing last month. Police did a welfare check on their Idaho home and say the parents lied about the kids being with friends and never even reported them missing. Since then, the couple has disappeared.
Fox's Christina Coleman. Some spelling errors are tough to see, but that doesn't include the one that was made on 10,000 trash bins in an Alabama city. The city of Pritchard's new residential garbage cans say the town is located in Mobile Country, but they were supposed to say it's located in Mobile County without the R. The city says it doesn't plan to replace the bins. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
A diamond ring turns into a black pearl and hangs shimmering in the sky.
Join 93.3 The Point for a spectacular celestial event. On the evening of December 26th, a rare solar eclipse will take place just before sunset.
we see the sun's atmosphere, normally not visible.
Most of the sun will be blocked during the eclipse, leaving only a ring of fire visible, and we have the best seats and the safest way to watch it.
It's one of the great wonders of the solar system.
Join us at the Point Coffee Lounge at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort from 4 to 6 p.m. on December 26th. The first 100 guests will receive a pair of Eclipse viewing glasses, a complimentary glass of iced tea, and a coupon good for discounts at Sheraton's Surfers Point Bar or La Cascada Buffet Restaurant. Join us for the Point's 2019 Eclipse Viewing Party, December 26th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the beautiful Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort. Brought to you in part by Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort, Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro, and your sky watching friends at 93.3 The Point.
Today and good morning. It is 8:06. I'm Ana Silva Tyron with some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. December 26th is the deadline given to Guam to file its appeal in the Dave Davis case after the U.S. Supreme Court granted a request for GovGuam to file an appeal. There was some hoopla over missing a deadline to request for an extension to the filing, but Justice Elena Kagan granted the request after all and gave Guam until the day after Christmas to file. The governor tapped attorney Mike Phillips to lead the charge in the appeal of the Ninth Circuit Court ruling that the Guam plebiscite law is unconstitutional. According to the website, the deadline for Guam to file an appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court is December 26, 2019. Guam residents may have been tuned in to the developments on the Korean Peninsula, but none seemed fazed enough to interrupt Christmas festivities. This while the United States flew 4 surveillance planes over the Korean Peninsula over the holiday. That's according to a South Korean news agency. The move comes after North Korea threatened to give Washington a Christmas gift unless the U.S. makes concessions in nuclear talks with the country. Negotiations between the U.S. and North Korean officials stalled earlier this year after a summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un ended abruptly. The accident snarled traffic along Route 8 in Mighty for a bit yesterday while police and Guam fire medics responded to a motorcycle spill by the new Payless Market. Police have released few details in their investigation, but a motorcycle driver was transported to the Guam Memorial Hospital. The accident took place around 2:30 in the afternoon. GFD spokesman Kevin Riley says the driver was conscious and responsive. The lanes leading toward Barragata were closed as Guam Police Department officers investigated the scene. A video shared on WhatsApp shows the motorcycle on the street laying on its side with smoke coming from it. Former Department of Corrections Internal Affairs Jeff Limo and several other officers will be sentenced today in the Superior Court. Jeff Limo, Jerry Hokok, and Edward Crisostomo all pleaded guilty for their part in smuggling contraband into the prison. Their sentencing will be before Judge Anita Sokola. Also to be sentenced are inmates Bruno Simmons and Sean Johnson. They too will be sentenced in Anita Sokola's courtroom. Former Department of Corrections officer Jerome Timinglo Nicholas will also be in her courtroom. Nicholas was to plead guilty in an earlier hearing, but his hearing was rescheduled because a drug test wasn't given to him before that hearing. It was just on Tuesday that another person charged in that same case received her sentence. Roxanne Hokog, charged with attempting to bring contraband into DOC back in 2017, but because of her efforts to get clean and accept guilt, the judge gave her a 5-year suspended prison sentence and credit for time already served. We'll have more news after this.
The holiday season is here, and it gives us pause to reflect on the abundance of 2019 and to express our gratitude for Guam, the island we call home, and to all Guamanians. Our team here at Security Title is proud of the work we do to support ourselves and our families, to serve and care for our customers, and to give back to our community. May this season of joy and the new year bring happiness, good health, and prosperity to you and yours. Merry Christmas from all of us at Security Title.
The holidays are here and the shopping frenzy begins. Protect yourself with these safe shopping tips. Consider shopping only with retailers you trust or do some research on other retailers you aren't familiar with before proceeding. Don't save your credit card information on retail websites and never make payments when using public Wi-Fi. Switch to cellular data or wait until you get to a secure network to make your purchases. These safe holiday banking tips are brought to you by Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, member FDIC.
The man arrested in a viral video that led to several Guam police officers being investigated for assault by a police officer will be back in court today. Defendant Jobert Carlos pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease before a magistrate judge. He's represented by attorney Bill Bischoff. Carlos is charged with criminal mischief, assault as a misdemeanor, and disorderly conduct. The court's been waiting for a forensic evaluation to be performed before they accept his assertion for a speedy trial. He's scheduled to be back in court this afternoon. Meanwhile, GPD's internal investigation continues into the arresting officer. The FBI also conducting a civil rights investigation, and the Attorney General looking into criminal charges. And a 28-year-old Tamuning man spent his Christmas behind bars after he allegedly slammed a 14-year-old boy to the ground and choked him. Jonathan Robert Brown Jr., charged with family violence as a misdemeanor and family violence as a third-degree felony. The suspect denied choking the teen. However, he did admit to rushing toward the victim, grabbing him by his shirt and throwing him to the floor where he held him down. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is Ray with your weather.
Oh, weather. I had it. Oh, found it. Partly cloudy skies, isolated showers. Winds out of the east, 15 to 20 miles an hour today, decreasing a bit tonight. Highs near 88 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 77 degrees. The sunrise this morning, 6:41, about the same time tomorrow. And tonight, a very unusual sunset. We've been talking about this for some time now, so I want to give you an idea of what things could look like around the Sheraton Point area. Generally, everything on the western side of the island might look like this about, 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
About 4:50, between 4:55 and 4:57. This is about how things will look. So totality, the level of totality we'll see on this annular eclipse only lasts 3 minutes, but we will be able to see it in the waxing and waning stages starting at about 3:30, and then the eclipse actually ends at about 6:05. Yeah. That's about 4 minutes after the sun sets. So we will see about as much of it as people can see.
Yeah, exactly. And from practically every promontory on Guam, you should be able to get a decent view of the thing. Question that I've got is, how do you photograph it so it looks about like that? And what's it going to be? What are the challenges going to be? If you've got a DSLR, wonderful. If you've got an old film camera, what are you going to be doing? And if all you've got is an iPhone or a Pixel or a Samsung, what steps do you got to take to make sure that you can get those pictures? Now, I've told you zoom in, you stabilize the heck out of it, and then you zoom in, and then there's got to be a way that you can open the aperture. Not open an aperture, but make kind of a long, what do they call it? You leave the shutter open for as long as possible.
I would think that's going
supposed to let a lot of, well, it'll brighten it up for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure that seems like that would give you an overexposure. You would want to lower the aperture so you can get the contrast.
Oh, lower the aperture. Well,
see, the same photographic principles apply here. Is the same reason we don't see stars in pictures on the moon when they were taken during the moon landings, because you get this washout, and it just completely washes out everything else. And so you really want to be able to close that aperture down to where you can focus in and let just as little light as possible, because you're looking for a serious contrast here, and you're looking into it.
But wouldn't you want a long exposure?
No, you don't need it with this kind of light. Long exposures work when you're dealing with low light situations, but in this case, and of course with digital, it doesn't even matter because exposure times mean absolutely nothing. At that point, you're dealing with the shutters, speeds. You're also dealing with the aperture in terms of that. So these guys know how to do it a lot better. With a cell phone, you could do it. If you've got some welder's glass, you could hide the phone behind a welder's glass and take a shot that way.
Well, in fact, that's what Nate Horn says he's going to do, is use a welding mask. He works over at Napa, so they have welding masks, and then they've got welding mask styles that you can get yourself into. Do what Nate does out there this morning. Dave Chargaloff's online saying good morning. James Howard saying the gift is underwater. I have no idea what that means. It sounds cryptic, but what the heck, that's James. 8:14 in the morning, and so the deal is 4 o'clock this afternoon over at the Sheraton.
Yep.
First 100 people through the door will get their eclipse glasses.
That's right.
We ask you to share them if there's more than just you that shows up.
If I could turn back time.
That's
You asked for it.
S-H-A-R-E. Yeah, but in this case, I forgot I was saying it. Let me share with you this. I got the weather radar up on the screen. Not a whole lot by way of cloud activities, and I think that's going to be good for us when it gets to be eclipse viewing time.
Yeah, just checked out the forecast discussion by the National Weather Service, and they say this afternoon the sunset eclipse will not be optimum, but it will be tenable. So you'll be able to see it. We are going to have a few clouds rolling through, and you can see on radar right here just some of those trade wind disturbances sliding on by. That's what they do this time of year.
Yeah.
There will be plenty of breaks in the clouds clouds, you'll be able to see the eclipse just fine. Just expect this kind of situation to continue.
A quarter after 8 o'clock in the morning. All right, that's news and weather together here on The Point.
GRMC's Neuroscience and Neurology Department treats a wide spectrum of disorders associated with the nervous system, spine, and brain. Some of the more common disorders include seizures, epilepsy, dementia, sleep disorders, migraine, and stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC's neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and the finest neurological doctors. To make an appointment, contact GRMC Specialty Clinics at 645-5500.
The Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by Take Care, offering proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage you and your families to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle. Preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing, unwinding, being socially connected. All the stuff that we did yesterday, they can help you do that all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Also brought to you by American President Lines, APL, global presence with a local home, American Medical Clinic, Medical Center, accepting Medicare, Aetna, and new patients for their 3 incredible locations, Tumon, Manilao, and Oka in Tamuni. Give them a call at 647-8262. That's 647-8262. And then we've got this other deal from my buddies over at Wendy's, and they're looking at saving you some money towards the end of the year, maybe into the new year, into the new decade, as it were. We've got it's like 2 for $5, I think is the name of the deal. You got the regular Wendy's burger, and then you've got a chicken burger, and then you've got, what's the other one? It's nuggets, right? It's got the Wendy's nuggets there. So you can choose either of those 2. There's 3, so pick 2 from the 3, and it will only cost you $5. It is the next big deal that's going to be happening between here and the new year over at Wendy's.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Checking. I'm looking to see what happens here. 8:17 in the morning, 888-8255, 888-TALK is the telephone number, and I'm clicking on something on a Yahoo site, and I didn't bring with me. It's at the house, getting charged up. I usually take care of my football pick'em stuff on the what do you call it? Yeah, that's me. That's where I'm going. Okay. Maybe it's going to let me in. Yes, there it is. Octopus Pew Pew, that's my name. And picking good football teams is my game. And what have I got here? I'm ranked 3 out of 50 with a total of 158 points. But that ain't good enough for first place. Second place has 159. I think who's in the lead here? Is it still the guy?
Yeah, down set what to what with 160 points. Niner for life right behind him at 159. Those 2 really, I think, best chances of winning this thing. We'll see after this week. Although you've got Octopus Pew Pew, that's you. You're in there kind of stinking up the mess. But White Flower Dude's there. Nate's also in there. And OBJYN, which is Dennis, down at 155 points. I think that's probably going to be about all.
Where we finish, yeah.
Yeah, if BBLRB Chub has just a phenomenal week and everybody else really sucks, then he might be able to win. But it looks like it's going to be between those 5. Once again, downset what to what with 160. Let's see, Niners for life at 159, and then White Flower Dude and Nate at 156, and Dennis at 155. By the way, congratulations to the Cosinator. He was our Week 16 winner. He got, I want to say, 13 picks right yesterday, this last go-around. And so he gets to check out a cool gift certificate. He gets his choice, an Outback, a Red Lobster, and a nice T-shirt.
8:19 in the morning, and thanks very much to the guys over at Current Guam. We're getting very, very close to the end of this, and I appreciate the assistance of the guys over at Current to help us keep this, maintain this game as long as we have. And I'm looking forward to having them part of the process when it gets to be the 2020 NFL season next year. We're definitely going to be doing this again. And I also want to say thanks to the team over at GTA. I went to them early into the process and said, gee, I'd love to give away a phone. They said, well, which one? And I explained the nature of the contest. It's you get to pick the winners of for each of the weekends. And they said, well, let's make it so that the winner, the ultimate winner, the one with the most score, the most correct calls, will get to choose from either an iPhone or a Samsung or a Pixel. And I've been playing around with the Pixel before. And I tell you what, pure Android lovers, pure Google lovers will absolutely love this phone. And the cameras are great, too. Despite what you might have seen on some of the reviews, they must have gotten a wonky camera when they were doing that, because every picture that I've taken with this phone looks just wonderful. And it compares well with the iPhones.
Yeah, and this time next week, we will know who that winner is.
Do I want you to hold off on that until I get back?
Well, we can. I mean, we'll know. We'll all know who the winner is, but we don't have to announce.
We'll make a big deal about it, and then when I get back, we'll get Eveline and the GTA Chetch and everybody from GTA in, so that maybe we can do an on camera presentation.
There you go.
You like that?
That's
okay. So that's
beautiful.
what we'll do. 8:21 in the morning, and we'll take a look now at the actual football that's going to be taking place over the weekend. Or did you have any stories you wanted to cover?
No, well, I'll do NBA after we do the pick'ems, because we are actually in Thursday, so we need to start picking these picks. Although all games will be Monday. All games will be Monday. They are all Sunday games this week. This is to allow the teams who are in the playoffs to have that full week of rest going into their first game of the playoffs. And so we're looking at all games on Monday. But,
I didn't realize that as I was doing this. All right, so going to be a busy day for the sportscasters out there. My list is incomplete, and maybe we can talk about some of these other things, the ones that I'm scratching my head on as we go, all right?
That sounds good.
Okay, so I'm going Buffalo.
Yeah, definitely got Bills over the Jets. We got Cleveland at Cincinnati. I'm taking the Browns.
No, wait a second. All right, so was you going to Cleveland as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Cincinnati's. I think Cincinnati. They've locked up the number one. They've locked up the number one draft pick, so they're just going to look to keep on sucking.
Okay, I'm going Green Bay in the Green Bay Detroit game. I think Green Bay coming off the victory this weekend. I think they've got some trajectory here.
Yeah, and Detroit's playing for absolutely nothing, but just a little bit of pride. We'll see how that works. It is a divisional game, and you can never always be sure about them. But I'm going with the Green Bay.
I like Kansas City over L.A.
Absolutely, Kansas City looking to carry some momentum into the playoffs.
This one here's a little bit tricky. Minnesota and Chicago.
Not so much. Chicago's just not there. They are not the Bears we thought they were when we went into the season. Vikings win this easy. They're still trying to make the playoffs.
New England over Miami for sure?
For sure.
All right. I'm still fuzzy on Tampa Bay and Atlanta. Haven't made a pick there yet.
Yeah, man. I am just not sure. Right now I've picked the Falcons only because they just have a better offense, but again, two teams that are playing for absolutely nothing, and it's in Tampa Bay. Could go either way. I may change the pick. Right now, I'm going Falcons.
Okay, I'll put that down on the list. Falcons there, and let me see here. New Orleans over Carolina. I like New Orleans all season long.
Yeah, big time. This will probably be the biggest blowout of the week.
All right, we got the Cowboys and the Indians here on this one.
That's right. Yeah, the big rivalry there. Although neither team really playing very well this year. Redskins among the worst in the league. Dallas needs to win this game to have any sort of chance of making the playoffs, and even then, it may not happen.
I hesitated, but I'm putting my money on Dallas.
Yeah, I got to go with Dallas.
All right, Denver, Oakland?
Yeah, I got Denver.
All right, let me just because
Again, it's a hard game to pick. You rarely go to Mile High Stadium and have a good game. That's what Oakland has to do, but Oakland may actually be the better team. We'll see.
Guide me now on the Raiders and Arizona.
Yeah, Cardinals and the Rams.
Sorry, Rams.
Everybody's going with the Rams. At this point, though, they've been eliminated. So I don't know that the Rams are going to have the intestinal fortitude to get out there and really play a good game of football. Cardinals looking to play for a little bit of pride here. I'm going with Cardinals, but this is another game that actually could go either way and should probably go to the Rams.
Okay. Well, so you'll tell me Sunday morning.
Yeah,
or Monday morning.
Yeah.
Okay, what you've decided, because I can see you vacillating on this all weekend long.
One, yeah.
All right, I'm taking Philly over Giants.
Yeah, Phillies need it. They got to win to make the playoffs.
Haven't decided on Indianapolis versus Jacksonville, but I'm leaning Indianapolis.
Yeah, Colts are going to smear the Jaguars. Jaguars are just a train wreck this year. They will look to try to make it back next year, but they won't have the defense they started out with this season.
Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I like the Baltimore.
Yeah, here's a funny thing. Ravens have locked up the number one seed. They could rest their starters as they have this last basically meaningless game. Steelers need to win this game to have any chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the Ravens right now because they seem to be the obvious winner, but I'm going to see whether they're going to rest their starters, and if they do, I'll probably pick Steelers.
How will you know?
They'll announce it.
Okay.
They'll announce it. They'll say, yeah, we're just, our starters will play maybe a quarter or two just to kind of keep the fresh legs, but not the whole game. And so that's usually what will happen when a team has had this kind of success and have locked up the number one seed.
All right, I'm staying with Houston.
Yeah, I got to go with Houston. Texans over Titans. We would really like to keep the Titans out of the playoffs, and that's how you do it. You beat them.
All right, and finally I got the San Francisco over Seattle.
Oh, wow.
Much as I hate to call it early, I think I just gotta, Niners have had such a great season. Seattle blew it last week.
Both teams can still finish with the number 1 seed, though, because all of the NFC East teams are tied at the top. And both teams need to win to assure a higher position in the playoff bracket. It's just going to be really tough. I can't go against Seattle at home. That 12th man, I think, in a game of this kind of magnitude, this is quite literally these two teams' first playoff game. It's their first playoff game. So I've got to take Seattle in this sense, but I probably will be wrong.
Okay. I can make that noise. Right? I hate that. What am I going to do? I like both teams. Niners for life is hollering at his radio now. Just stay with us. Stay with San Francisco. Hold faith. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, with San Francisco's defense and the problems that Seattle has had over the past few weeks, San Francisco really poised to win this game. But it's in Seattle, and that's a tough place to go win.
Crazy. All right, 8:26 in the morning, and a story that Mona found for me that she said I could use for sports. This from the Guam Daily Post. Through time, Guam's bloodlines have run far and wide across the globe. Donovan F. Zahi, with blood ties to Guam and a junior at the Tahoma High School in Maple Valley, Washington, has been invited to attend the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy Invitational Winter Camp. Starts tomorrow, their day, and goes until the end of the decade. The 5-day camp at Sports World will take place in Casa Grande, Arizona. EIRA, a nationwide organization whose mission is to help identify and develop America's best young players through a series of clinics and camps. So the EIRA notes that Donovan Afzahi, Mike Afzahi's boy, originally from Petey, and Duressa Guerrero Afzahi lived in Zonia and Tumon. So we got some Guam talent here that is going to be incredible. The dude's going to come out. He's going to take, which is what I think is likely to happen. He'll participate in all of this, become a big rugby star, and then come back to Guam and apply what he has learned at that to here on Guam. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, rugby's a lot of fun. Checking NBA scores. We got 3 games on the schedule for Christmas Day. 2 are already over, and the first 2 have kind of ended in upsets. The Celtics beat the Raptors 118-102, and the Milwaukee Bucks, we were talking about them the other day. They only lost 4 games up until today, and the 76ers beat them 121-109. The final game for Christmas, the Rockets are in Golden State battling the Warriors, and that's a close game right now. Warriors lead that 17-16 in the first.
Gotcha. Is that all the time that we got to pretend to talk about sports? Gonna finish early. I normally would fill in with something, kind of sports related or interesting, but honestly, outside of what we have talked about with the football pick'ems, a little bit of NBA stuff, I don't know that there's that much more going on between here and the end of the year. I think it's going to be interesting on the other side of the year to see what happens now with the ESA as opposed to the IAAG that we've seen before. Also looking forward to in 2020 the new Guam Major League schedule coming out.
That's right.
That will be interesting and fun to play around with as well. And for no other reason, we get Mark on the radio every once in a while. 8:28, and if that's all the time we got to do it, I won't waste any more time. Mona Silva Tyron's got her last newscast. No, not of the decade.
But wait, it's not. But I was going to tell you. It's not. He's not running for Congress. He's running for governor.
We were talking about Frank.
Speaking of sports.
Yeah, speaking of sports, we were talking about Frank, and so Frank was quick to say no, he's not running for congressman because I misheard the rumor. He is not running. He is not a rumored name for Congress. They're sending up the what do they call it? The test balloons for Frank Blas as governor. Frank Blas Jr. for governor.
That's what
forever.
I hear.
But no names have been associated with lieutenant governor position. But generally, it doesn't really make any difference.
So when you
at
talk
all.
to him again, you can ask.
Yeah, I might talk to the guy again. I can talk to.
Maybe when Chris comes, we'll have that caucus. We'll have the caucus.
You want to stick around for caucus?
Sure.
I mean, if you're not doing anything.
Well, I'm going to see Chris tomorrow. So.
Well, yeah, but it'll be different and the same every time.
I'm not doing anything, but it is doing something, which is nothing.
It's the Underwood, Gibson, Silva, Tyron kind of thinking that goes through. I'm leaving. I'm going anyway. Anyways, 8:30 in the morning. All right, so we got that. The other name for Congress, the sole Republican name that we've heard for Congress is Will Castro.
Yeah, and I heard that from somebody who attended a Republican powwow that they had that we weren't invited to, because you're an independent.
Yeah.
But I wasn't invited to the Republican powwow.
Why wouldn't they invite you?
I don't know.
Former senator.
Maybe they know I wouldn't go.
8:30 in the morning. All right. Now, so the possibility that there could be a whole bunch of political gossip before the end of the program today.
We should never discount the lieutenant governor, though, because, taking care of the Guam seal is a tough job.
Those things poop everywhere. They can't be impossible to be house trained. It's 8:30 in the morning. Got headlines coming up.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your fix every day with the Points NFL Pick'em Contest. Get the latest updates as we check out the past week's performance and break down the upcoming action. Get your game on by calling the hotline at 888-TALK or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome weekly prizes with a shot for your choice of a new GTA phone. The NFL Pick'em Contest is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. A friend of mine sends me a note on the Facebook Messenger. Hope your Christmas was, and then it's 3 cherries in a row. Hope your Christmas was. You know what, baby?
It was cherry.
Like Auntie Mary. Is on like Donkey Kong. It's 8:32 in the morning. And about time for our last look at headlines with news from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Mana Silva Tyron.
Well, today is the deadline given to Guam to file its appeal in the Dave Davis case. The U.S. Supreme Court granted Guam's request for an extension to file its appeal of a Ninth Circuit ruling that Guam's plebiscite law is unconstitutional. According to the website, the deadline for Guam to file its appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court is December 26, 2019. Former DOC Internal Affairs Officer Jeff Limo and others charged in the prison contraband case will be sentenced in the Superior Court today. The officers, to include Jerry Hokok and Edward Crisostomo, were among several who pleaded guilty for their part in smuggling drugs and other contraband into DOC. Inmates Bruno Simmons and Sean Johnson also to be sentenced today for their part. A motorcyclist was rushed to the hospital yesterday after he crashed his bike on Route 8 by the Mighty Payless. The accident took place around 2:30 in the afternoon. The man was responsive and alert when he was transported. The crash had traffic at that area at a standstill along Route 8 while police investigated that crash. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. For more on these stories, pick up a copy of the paper, log on to their website at postguam.com.
Rico Blancaflor says Seattle by 3 points. There's an interesting, if not long, what 'twas the night before Christmas, but it's based on the FBI investigations up in the CNMI. Which I think it's interesting. So if you're on Facebook Live, that's something to look forward to. If you're not on Facebook Live yet, what's your problem? What's your problem? What are you hiding from? Facebook Live is where it has to be. Generally Monday through Friday here in the radio station. If you want to watch the process but don't want me to say your name, James Howard, what you do is you can go to watch the thing on YouTube Live. The show goes in both directions at once, Facebook Live and YouTube Live, or you can go to just thepoint.gu and you can click on the show there. And I have no idea whether you're there or not. So
or 93.3.
You can actually listen to us on the radio. Now we are getting there are folks that are saying I hear this noise and it sounds like a fax machine going off for a second. We lose the signal, comes right back. But it's kind of annoying how often it is happening. And we've been troubleshooting this for a long time. I've got a secondary link that I'm probably going to put into the system today.
Is that just on the radio side?
It's just on the radio.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I haven't heard it.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's an annoyance, but I've got another path that I can take to which I believe
maybe
will
that's the surprise the North Koreans had.
You know what? It could be. It could actually be some kind of weird North Korean thing. I don't know where the thing is coming from. It's not radar, but they tell me though it's not on. It's hard to listen to them simultaneously because of the time division multiplexing. That sounded like I knew what I was talking about, right?
That was good.
Okay. Anyway, because of the time division multiplexing, I'm told that it exists on 93.3, but you will not hear it if you're listening to the HD feed on 104.3. So if you've got an HD capable radio, then go to HD3 on 104.3, and you should be able to hear it without any blemishes or anything like that.
I think I just need a new car then.
Virtually every new car that is sold on Guam has got now an HD radio in it, and if you're lucky, you've got an HD radio in there that will show you like album cover, concert pics, and logos and things like that. Now, a question I wanted to this is my last chance to ask you, to the degree that you've been paying attention.
Of a decade.
Of a decade. No, I was just thinking about, what do you consider, what do you think is going to be
I generally don't pay attention, but,
well, I know you're the same as me. But in the next couple of days, the newspapers are going to be publishing their top stories of 2019 issues. And, just for the sake of conversation, what do you think about 2019? What do you think were the big stories? I mean, and you don't have to give me the top one, but think about like the top five. Give you an example: the Dave Davis case. You were just talking about that a second ago. Guam is already holding the bag on this, and if for no other reason that we're really mad at Dave Davis for pointing out the flaws in the legislation and suggestions that we might have done something that was extra constitutional, and everybody's mad at him now, and we're mad to the tune of was it $1.3 million. Then there's going to be more spend as this case makes its way to the Supreme Court, depending on what happens today. If they are actually going to file something, it's got to happen today.
But I don't know if that would be one of the big stories. I think maybe one of the big stories would be Guam's first female governor took seat. At the beginning of the year.
But we knew that was going to happen last year. I mean, it's like she was inaugurated. So that was, that can be a big story from last year. The fact that, we're here looking at the end of this year going, okay, well, that was nice. Got plenty of mileage out of that. But, is life easier on Guam for the vast unwashed public than it was a year ago? What with all of this spectacular revolutionary change that went, I think would be the deeper analysis on that particular story. You think the Blas case might come in top 5? The FBI case against Mayor Blas?
I think that's going to be a big one. That probably might be the biggest.
It's possible it might be the number one story of 2000. It's possible, depending on what they come up with here, it might be the top story of 2020.
Yeah, the fact that he was a sitting elected official indicted on such charges as being involved in a drug operation in his own village. I mean, that's the biggest one I've seen.
Yeah, the other gossipy stuff that comes along with that investigation as well.
Do you think Eddie would have looked as nice on that mural as Governor Lou does?
Eddie would have said no. If somebody had gone to him and said, hey, Gov, we're going to put you on a mural over at the library, I think virtually every single one of them, going back to Carlos Camacho, would have said, what are you kidding? Are you drunk? Are you that big of a kiss ass? Anyway, just my thoughts. So if you got some ideas on what you consider to be some of the big stories, then let me know about it. James Howard's going to say, the investigation into the submarine. Yeah, into the submarine UFO base just off Apra Harbor, and the fact that they still have not done that, despite the fact that everybody knows it's the most well-known secret there is on Guam, that we've got this underwater UFO base right offshore, and nobody wants to say anything about it. 8:38 in the morning, and you're pointing at your watch like I don't know what time it is. It's iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and ask them all kinds of questions about how they might be able to save you money. That'll be a big story. Let's save money in 2020. Do it with iConnect. 888-8888.
Cocoa Coffee Company is now available at Circle K. Single origin coffee beans carefully sourced and locally roasted to give you the freshest cup of coffee Guam has to offer. Grab a cup that's brewed every 30 minutes or purchase a bag of the locally roasted whole beans. Flavors now serving: light medium roasted Ethiopia and medium dark roasted Jamaican Blue Mountain. Exclusively available at Circle K. With every Cocoa Coffee Company purchase, a portion of the proceeds will go towards the Cocoa Recovery Program.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking for it. It all usually jumps out at me because it has the words seafood lao lao on the copy. There it is, seafood lao lao. One of a couple of specials that you can get into your mouth over at Mezcla. There's two Mezclas, by the way. Grand Plaza Hotel and one over at the main shop in Agania. They've got a medley of salmon, shrimp, scallops, and fresh spinach wrapped up in tea leaves. They steam that to order, topped with soy butter sauce and your choice of some kind of a starchiness. Visit Mezcla in Agania and in Tumon at the Grand Plaza. We suggest reservations 969-2652.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Hi, I'm Jerry Roberts, and every day on The Ray Gibson Show, I get to comment on the incredibly diverse, fun, challenging, sometimes frustrating, often exciting, but always interesting world of work. I hope you'll be there with us.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
I mean, just pick me up then and drop me to the airport. That's, I don't know, whatever time. Okay, so here's the thing. If I'm leaving on Philippines Airlines and the flight's at 6 o'clock in the morning, what time do I need to be at the airport? They're going to tell me 4. Somebody will say 4, which means I'm just going to sit around for an hour and a half waiting to get called somewhere. 20 away from the top of the hour. There's no traffic today because there's no school. You might find a couple of places near the department stores that might be jammed with people returning expensive things that you bought them that they still don't like. You know, what's up with that with people? But otherwise, I don't see anything happening. If you're aware of, I don't know, an accident or something like that we need to know about, you can call in at 888-8255 or take pictures of it and then WhatsApp me that at 988-5874, and we'll put the WhatsApp imagery up on the Facebook Live as a public service to the community that drives, that oddly can't watch it on Facebook Live. Anyway, 19 to 9, be right back.
Ever notice how that one perfect holiday gift is just out of reach? Or how sales on the stuff you want all come at the same time? This season, plan ahead with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. Now you can afford to be nice without being naughty. For more details, visit FHB.com or any branch to apply. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hafa-Day Tritons, this is Chelsea Sineklis, president of the UOG Alumni Association. I made some of the best memories during my time as a Triton. Because of this, I have committed to giving back to the G is for Giving campaign, which will help student scholarships, programs, and activities. And I encourage you all to do the same. To make a tax-deductible donation, log on to give.uog.edu by December 31st or call 735-2957.
Viva UOG!
I was once upon a time on a panel of, for lack of a better phrase, media personalities, and I was one of 2 people that were not in the news game. I was a DJ. Was back in the old Hit Radio 100 days, and so they brought me in for color, and they were asking around the table a bunch of questions. I think it was Jane Flores that was leading this, asking what the biggest, most underreported story was for that year, and I said it was the UFO landing, right? Because it's a joke. It would be the most nobody had ever heard of it. That's because it was the most underreported story of the year. And that's why I'm saying I think one of the most underreported stories here this year is the discovery of that massive UFO, that underwater UFO thing that we've got down in APRA. That's where the lights are coming from. And tonight when you're watching the eclipse, the annular eclipse, that's not going to be the moon covering up the sun. That's going to be the mothership covering up the sun. James Howard is going, yeah. That's what's going on. James actually chimes in with a couple of ideas on what the top stories for 2019 were. He's not ranking them, but think about government corruption. That's been in there, and there's a big conversation about it. Remember last year where they were saying, nah, there's not that much government corruption. Then the FBI comes in and says, hold my beer. Wait just a second. Let's review from the notes the degree of corruption that might exist in the government that starts at the mayor and may end up with guys over at the courts and the Guam Police Department and the Department of Corrections. Recreational cannabis is one of the big stories from 2019. It's the one where they are coming out and promulgating rules and regulations, and there is an FAQ now out on what you can and can't do, and different ways to understand the relationship between our recreational cannabis law here on Guam, federal laws, and the distinctions that may apply or may not apply to you, depending on whether or not you've got a federal ticket. The FBI here, the rise of Troy Torres is also among them. There had always been some kind of punditry, but if you start thinking about where we were this time last year and an arrest they you know what, you picked on the wrong guy, guys. And somebody made a strategic blunder and took somebody who was kind of on the outside of things with the administration and turned him into an enemy of the administration, and that has carried through into the new administration. Where we're just looking to disrupt the status quo and stop the bullies in their track. I can get fully behind that. Then, of course, there was the story of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities earlier in the year. Got a feel good, got that feel good vibe in there. It started handing out raises and realized that they did it outside the law. Oops, sorry. And they fell on the sword on that one, but realized that I think that cost them a great degree of trust in the community. I think they're going to take them some time to get that back. Currently, 8:45 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. A very close friend, your personal friend, the other Governor Leon Guerrero, Ken LG's on the line. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. Did you see my note about checking your WhatsApp?
I just now saw that, and the thing I got on WhatsApp is, I don't know, a note from a girl, and I don't think that's you. So I'll look again. Mike, do me a favor. When maybe while I'm gone, because I don't think Ken's going anywhere. You know how we got a thing for Uncle Robert when we call him? Like a little, the Uncle Robert's neighborhood thing? We need to have some kind of... for when Ken calls. Some kind of martial music that will notify us and give him some kind of rank, other than just me saying the other Governor Leon Guerrero. I think there needs to be some kind of fanfare as we go into these calls. You don't have any. I'm just saying, I don't think you've got anything right now, but it's possible that by the time I get back, we will. No. No. The Governor, we wouldn't play that for... If Governor Leon Guerrero walked in this morning, what would we play for her? Go on.
If there's anyone that has an impossible mission, it's Ken Leon Guerrero.
I know, but it's Governor, so relate it to the theme. 8:47 now. We've wasted a whole minute talking about that. Anyway, so what were you saying, Ken?
Well, with the revelation that Will Castro is planning to run for Congress, I've got an op-ed that's sitting in the inbox over at the Pacific Daily News on the lack of loyal opposition. And I have an editorial cartoon that I had commissioned to go with that op-ed. And so I thought I'd preview that editorial op-ed cartoon with you first, since you... I mean, it's so appropriate to the subject.
Deeply honored. Oh, my God, I'm so deeply honored. 8:47 in the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the bit that goes along with Ken's op-ed piece, and I think you're going to like it as well. There it is. Oh, my God. Oh. Ouch. It's Governor Leon Guerrero holding a puppet, and the puppet's image is Will Castro. And it's got Will Army is the what's embroidered on his clown hat. Oh my God!
Well, it's true. I mean, if you look at his unexpected rise to minority leader, because based on votes,
I just thought that
popularity.
I thought they did that to screw Mary Camacho Torres.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't think it had anything to do with Will being, a favorite among the girls.
Well, because he was more pliable. He's more willing to bend. He's willing to get on his knees and kiss the ring, so to speak.
Huh.
And he's proven it throughout his tenure as the minority leader. I mean, yeah. And so we don't have a loyal opposition, and I busted his chops on it. I mean, how did I get to be the voice of the loyal opposition? I'm not a political party member.
Yeah.
Yet there's no one from the Republican Party countering the administration. If you go back to the mainland, anytime the governor makes an address or a speech or publishes something in the paper, you have the Republican leader right there beside him. You know, we don't have that here.
I'm remembering the scene. And correct me, I can't remember what it was they were voting on, and you can go back on the legislative record. There was the amendment, I think, that would finally put either FESPAC or 181 in the third reading file, and everybody else had gotten up. All the other responsible folks had gotten up and decried it and thought it was a terrible thing, the way the legislature was moving too quickly on these without anything by way of discussion or support for the minority voices, period, with the exception of Will. When it came down to the vote, his was the first hand that shot up, and then he starts looking around the room to see how everybody else voted.
Yeah. It goes back to the fact that there's no loyal opposition, because if all these senators who decried the rush to vote on this, who were upset over the lack of public involvement, public disclosure, public hearings, and what is essentially a new bill, a totally different bill than the one that had public hearings on. Yet they all lined up and voted yes. So, you know, what was the point of that little exercise right there, standing up there and rising in protest or rising in opposition to the way this process is being ramrodded? If at the end of the day, we don't like this bill sucks, this is the worst piece of legislation ever created, yay.
So now, are you suggesting, though, I'm looking at I've got the picture up on Facebook Live and YouTube Live everywhere. So are you suggesting that not so much that Will is in the bag for the administration, but are you suggesting that the administration is pulling the strings of what should be the opposition party at the legislature?
That's what I'm suggesting, because by putting a tame Republican in play, or a leash Republican in play, along with a potentially loyal Democrat, then they double their chances to 100% of getting control of the congressional seat as well.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting conversation, but it occurs to me, though, that I was going to say they don't need it because there's a Democratic majority over at the legislature, but I'm beginning to see some openings in there. Certainly the fact that Therese Terlai is not the speaker.
Yeah.
And I think that there have been continued. God, you have the same coughing thing I got. I feel like Bob Klitsky's left something in the studio. At any rate, so what I'm thinking is that even though they've got a majority, they need to make sure that they've got enough votes from the minority side to be able to make up for Therese not being in the bag with the deep state Democrats that they've got in there.
That's it, exactly. And the fact that they have been throwing hand grenades at Mike St. Nicholas since day one, you know, they want somebody in there that's more dependable. The fact that they sent Madeline back to Washington, D.C. to act as the governor's liaison, you know. None of this serves the public by any way. All it does is serve the party.
But change, didn't we get change? We got change, didn't we? We got Mike St. Nicholas is now in Congress.
For the worst.
And now we've got Madeline still in Washington, D.C., so it's changed a little.
For the worse. We've confused our allies in Congress, because we have a former congressman running around throwing hand grenades at the current congressman. We have, you know, mixed messages coming from Guam on every subject. And I mean, let's go back a step. When Madeline's bill was revealed and all the flaws were pointed out, the administration couldn't go to Treasury. They couldn't get an MOU because it had to do with the law. And you can't write an MOU around a law. Yet this administration seems to feel that, yes, we can write an MOU around a law, you know. So, you know, this is a real bad message that's coming out, because the reason why war claims aren't being paid by Madeline's bill
is because we don't have an administrative vehicle, and so they're trying to fix that administrative vehicle. And in fact, the one from Bill 181 on Guam does not include any kind of administrative vehicle for the transfer of funds, regardless of what an MOU is going to say. So that's going to be tricky. 8:54 in the morning. Chris Duenas is going to be in at 9 this morning, and then we're going to be here together. But it's Chris Duenas' show until the second. What is it? The 3rd of January. So take care of him, would you?
I will. I'll be glad to.
You're a good man, Ken. I'll talk to you pretty soon. And the next time you and I talk, there's a very good likelihood that there will be some kind of pomp and circumstance graduation theme behind your first couple of seconds. All right.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you're very welcome. I appreciate. Listen, I appreciate. We all kind of stroke each other around here, and I appreciate the idea that Ken Leon Guerrero saw fit to include to debut this image on this program. Because if it was going to strike a resonant chord, it would be with listeners of this radio station. What the heck is going on? Is it true that Lulian Guerrero is pulling the strings over at the legislature with certainly the Democratic majority, but is it possible that she is also controlling some of the voices on the Republican side? He says. 8:55 in the morning. Is the time here. My very close, very dear personal friend, and I mean it when I say that. It's one of those things we get together every once in a while. We have awesome beer summits because we all run around with the same people. And I just got to say how much I love you and your wife, Clint.
Thanks, Ray. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
God, Merry Christmas to you guys. Well, you got that whole mess of kids here. What'd you guys do yesterday?
We went down to Molesto and visited a family, a couple parties down there, relatives parties and stuff. Yeah, my mother-in-law, Auntie Kat, my brother-in-law, John. So, yeah.
Oh, that sounds. You know what? I got another friend of mine sent me a video of what it looked like at her house, and not necessarily her house, but one of these things where the entire family gets together, and it's like 20 kids, and it looks like a mob scene. It's just some crazy argy-bargy of just kids and wrapping paper all over the place. I gotta see if I can get her permission to play that on the radio. 8:56 in the morning. So we're talking about some of the top 10 things, the top news stories of 2019. And yours has got to be deep inside the top 5. The idea that we got some common sense thinking where it comes, I consider common sense thinking where it comes to the liberalization of our views of marijuana and cannabis products. I'm delighted that you're as successful as you were. So let me offer my congratulations in what I consider to be one of the top stories of the year.
Oh, thank you, Ray. Yeah, I mean it wasn't easy, but it was hard fought. But I'm glad we were able to get it through. So. Yeah, I'm just looking forward now to 2020 and the next steps in the process as far as getting some commercialization of it and getting some tax money off of it and regulating it. So that's just what I'm looking forward to now. I know the Cannabis Control Board has been meeting. I went to their last meeting.
Yeah.
I think they've been working hard at it. They've been reaching out to a lot of different stakeholders. So the last meeting I was at, actually, the Guam Fire Department gave a presentation to the Cannabis Control. And you might think, Guam Fire, what does that have to do with cannabis? Well, because with the commercialization of it, there are different types of cannabis products that require manufacturing stuff, and some of it requires the use of certain chemicals for getting extracts out. And so some of them can pose hazards as far as like potential fire hazards in a building, electrical hazards with the lighting and all that stuff. So the fire department was basically just giving a whole briefing on the safety things that are going to be required and that the fire department is putting together with respect specifically to cannabis.
Well, I'm glad that it sounds like there is an attempt to be thorough.
Yes, I think they're being very thorough because at first I was surprised. I was sitting in there wondering what do they need to hear from the fire department for? But then when the fire department gave their presentation, then I understood. I said, okay, actually this is good. They're sort of thinking ahead, like what is every possible thing we can think of before we really begin to roll out this new program.
I got you. Well, I'm just hoping that they've got a laissez-faire attitude where it comes to dispensing and sales. I hope that anybody that wants to become a retailer of one kind or another has an opportunity and doesn't have to be one of the same 5 or 6 rich people in this town that are going to be able to take advantage of all of this and limit the opportunities for everybody else. I'd like to see anybody that wants to grow it, anybody that wants to sell it, Anybody that wants to run a retail business that features marijuana and derivatives as part of their product line, I think they ought to be able to do something like that and get us to a point. Get us to a point where and it's got to be cheap, because there ain't no point in standing up all these rules and regulations and have expensive dope, because people are just going to stay underground and do all of that stuff. Hey, I wanted to ask you a question about what you thought of 2020. A little bit more on 2020 besides just what's going to happen with recreational marijuana.
Sure.
Can we call you back in the next hour? Chris and I ask you a couple other questions about what you think you're going to be up to in the next year of the legislature.
Sure.
Yeah, you're one of a handful of bright spots there. You know how I feel about some of your colleagues, but you're not daffy. So I'm kind of curious as to what serious ideas you've got for the new year.
Yeah, I'd love to. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Mike's going to ring you back. In the meantime, the radio station is KUSG 93.3. This is The Point. Oh, that's too slow. It's like I'm looking long.
It was nice 10 seconds ago.
Yeah. A presidential Christmas message. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump posting a holiday message on Twitter today.
On behalf of the entire Trump family, we wish everyone a joyous and Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year.
The First family spending the holidays at the president's private club in Palm Beach. Last night, they attended a Christmas Eve service at a Baptist church before dinner in the ballroom at his resort. Police in Boston investigating the deaths of a woman and 2 young children found unresponsive outside a parking garage this afternoon and pronounced dead a short time later.
We're going to do everything we can to try to get the answers.
Investigators haven't said how they believe the 3 died. Police continuing their search for 2 Idaho children who haven't been seen since September.
The kids are missing, their parents are missing, and 3 of their relatives have all died within the past 6 months. The kids' parents are also in a religious cult. The parents are newlyweds. The stepdad, 51-year-old Chad Daybell, is a popular author and podcaster. He married 46-year-old Lori Vallow shortly after his former wife, Tammy Daybell, died in her sleep in late October. But her body was recently exhumed because police now believe her death could be related to the missing kids. As for the kids' mother, her estranged husband was killed by her brother during a confrontation in July in Arizona, and her brother died less than 2 weeks ago on December 12th, but police won't say how.
Fox's Christina Coleman. Those parents now named persons of interest in the children's disappearance. Police in Lakeland, Florida, are investigating an apparent Christmas Eve murder-suicide that left 3 adults dead. 4 children were in the home at the time and are safe. It's not yet known whether the children are related to those killed. All 4 children are believed to be younger than 10 years old. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, what's that?
A Subway Big Hot Pastrami.
My Big Hot Pastrami?
No, my Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Get your own.
Get your own Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Tender, juicy beef on freshly baked sunflower crunch bread, topped with pickles and mustard. Finish off your meal with all new seasoned potato wedges, baked to perfection right in the restaurant. Both available for a limited time only. Subway, make it what you want.
When you think about better water, think Kinetico softened water. Kinetico water conditioners work like no other, supplying a continuous flow of luxuriously soft water without disruption and without use of electricity. After all, better water flows from better thinking. Kinetico.
American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
A Christmas Eve tragedy for a Central California family.
A California man is dead. Investigators say he was trying to save his 10-year-old daughter from drifting out to sea. The girl was using a floating device in Monterey Bay off Carmel River State Park when the dad saw her float too far out to sea. The father swam to the girl, and witnesses say they both struggled. Both were taken to shore, but the father later died. The girl was treated for possible hypothermia. Marcus White, Fox News.
Baltimore could wrap up the year with its highest ever per capita homicide rate. Killings of adults and minors for drugs, retribution, money, or no clear reason have plagued the city throughout the year. Police recorded 338 murders as of yesterday. Baltimore would see its homicide rate reach approximately 57 per 100,000 residents, if there are 4 more homicides before the new year. It's the 5th year in a row the city has reported over 300 killings. 2 suspected holiday thieves are jailed in Northern California.
A California couple definitely on Santa's naughty list after police say they stole more than 100 packages and envelopes and led police on a car chase in Durham, about 80 miles north of Sacramento. Inside the car, the sheriff's office said they found 108 packages and envelopes addressed to 56 people at 37 different addresses. They also found some methamphetamine and a wallet with gift and prepaid debit cards, as well as hundreds of dollars in cash. The couple, who was uninjured, were charged with mail theft, identity theft, possession of a controlled substance, and probation violation. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
A California man has been arrested in a $24 million scheme to sell counterfeit laptop batteries from China in the U.S. Federal prosecutors say 28-year-old Zulin Kai and co-conspirators manufactured bogus batteries with counterfeit trademarks, then sold them in the U.S. through Amazon and eBay. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, Mom, Dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Cocoa Coffee Company is now available at Circle K. Single origin coffee beans carefully sourced and locally roasted to give you the freshest cup of coffee Guam has to offer. Grab a cup that's brewed every 30 minutes or purchase a bag of the locally roasted whole beans. Flavors now serving: light medium roasted Ethiopia and medium dark roasted Jamaican Blue Mountain. Exclusively available at Circle K. With every Cocoa Coffee Company purchase, a portion of the proceeds will go towards the Cocoa Recovery Program.
It's the Ray Gibson Show, being brought to you by American President Lines, APL Global Presence, and a local home. Also, the guys over at Wendy's. For just $5, get 2 of your faves there. Just the deal that you're looking for, because it's after Christmas. I don't have any money left. So 2 for $5. That's how we're going to do this. Choose from a Dave's Single Spicy Chicken Sandwich or 10-piece nuggets. So pick any 2 of those 3 items, and it's only $5. Hands down, best value on Guam. So stop by and get your $2, 2 for $5 deal today. And if you're looking for another great deal, may I suggest partying out 2019 and into 2020. God, it's going to be great calling it that year, isn't it? What a great number for a year, 2020. What year were you born? 2020. What year you get married? 2020. What year you get divorced? 2020. Just do short romance. Where was I? Anyway, so ring in the new year and Kento's 10th anniversary. They'll feature live performances by Insta Jam, Super Club, and music by DJ Daryl Lizama and Ryan the Mixologist. My boys are going to be on the 1s and 2s there. General admission tickets, $20. That gets you 2 drinks, appetizers, the champagne toast, and an opportunity to be under the $500 balloon drop at midnight. Don't miss it. December 31st, New Year's, and the 10th anniversary of Kento's at the Hyatt.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Look, I ain't gonna be here. And Cousin Troy's online right now, and he's dropping some ideas on what to do with the top 10 stories of 2019. Now, it is possible that there might be kind of a sanitized version of the top stories of 2019 coming out, and it'll have some of the stuff that we talk about for sure. I mean, there's no way you can walk around the whole Blas case. There's no way that you can do a top 10 without talking about that level of construction. FestPac is going to be in there. War Claims is going to be in there. But it occurs to me it would be that much more exciting, and I don't care what they write at the PD Edit. I'm sure it'll be entertaining and informative over at the Post and at KUAM and at PNC and all of that stuff. But the guy that I would have my eye on is I'd like to see Cousin Troy, as in Troy Torres, as in Candid News. I'd love to see what his top 10 newscast is going to be. You know, the end of the year newscast with Johnny and Troy, and the things that they know that they can broadcast, but for whatever reason, nobody else will. So I think it'll be the same stories, but I think it'll be the same stories, but it'll be with their take on it. And I think it'll be fun to watch, and I think it's one of those things that just talking about it may be making people feel uncomfortable. Just from the word jump, maybe they're starting to feel a little bit. I don't know. I got a squidgy feeling where I sit. 9 after 9. There's you hear a little bit of giggling in the background. It's my very close, very dear personal friend, and he would do the morning show even if I wasn't paying him to do it. But Chris Duenas is in the studio now, and we'll get an hour's worth of practice in, and then after that he's going to be here Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday next week.
Absolutely, and I'm here to pick up the keys.
There's keys. Mike has the keys. So just bang on the door until somebody opens it. That's usually the way it works.
So Mike said, I just peeked around the corner to let you know I was here. He said, storm in there and just start yelling.
So put the headphones on.
Sure.
Grab those while Michael Knight is going to see if we can get Clinton Rigel from the 35th Guam Legislature
nice
back on.
guy.
So, it's one of the, in my mind, it's definitely in the top 10, maybe top 5 of the big stories of 2019. It is the fact that when we started 2019, you and I couldn't, if we wanted to, in the backyard of the house, light up a marijuana cigarette and enjoy it just because we're reasonable adults. We could have done it, but it would have been against the law.
Yeah, we could have even grown it, and it would have been against the law.
Right.
So not only are we going to be able to buy it at on retail at some point,
I hope,
but we can even grow it.
And so I think it's a significant enough sea change. I'm going to say this. I don't know if it has gone as far and wide as or deep, but my own senses and just being a guy that's out there from time to time, I will tell you that the smell of marijuana is more prevalent than I think ever since the 1970s when people first found out that, hey, dude, there's this, he put it in a yellow paper and you can smoke it and it will make you feel groovy for a while. And there was a lot of that, and maybe that's just proximity. I was in high school and we used to run around with a crew that liked to experiment with all kinds of different things. It's 2019, almost 2020, and I was in front of a bar in Anigua last week, helping a girl light her marijuana cigarette.
Raymond Gibson.
Right there. Marine Drive is right there.
You heard it first.
Well, now you weren't helping her. You were just encouraging.
Well, it was windy, so she needed somebody to block the wind. So I was wearing a jacket. I did not hold the lighter. I did not hold the marijuana cigarette or the fancy, cool, locally ground pipe that she was smoking it out of. I didn't do any of that stuff.
You were doing a great public service.
But my point is there's Marine Drive, and we're right here out in front of a bar in Anigua, smoking like it's a cigarette. So I think there's been a massive change in people's attitudes about that, and I think we're not done with this story. I think the rest of the story is going to be deep into 2020, how the Cannabis Control Board puts together the rules and regulations. And you know me, I'm a laissez-faire guy. Let the market decide what needs to be done. What I don't want to happen is they say, well, we're only going to have 2 or 3 licensed growers. Well, who's that going to help?
I think the bigger thing, and I think Clint will probably expand on it, is all cannabis goes through the lab. And that was one of the concerns during the Calvo administration when there was a discussion. And there was actually, a time whereby during a senior staff meeting, in presentations and other discussions on the medicinal marijuana, it was so obvious that to stand up the medicinal program, the government of Guam just didn't have the funds to dedicate towards that. If you always know that heaven and earth can be moved to fund just about anything. But we were already doing
everything over public health, and they were strapped to begin with.
Correct, and there was public safety agencies. The tourism industry was expressing concerns, and so I think regardless, now that we're in the era that we are in, and Clint was successful in getting his legislation along with other colleagues getting that passed, the fundamentals really are the lab. The quality control, I think, and the product in terms of its ability to be consistent, to ensure that it is free of toxins, and that is it's a marketable. I remember your discussion on this, Ray, when you said when much like alcohol, when you go and buy, a beer, when you go and buy a 6-pack, a 12-pack, when you buy a bottle of liquor, fact of the matter is, if you're buying reputable brands and nothing off market, you pretty much know you're going to have that 4% alcohol by volume. It's going to be
the consistent 4% every single time.
Then that's my point, Ray. I'm not, not trying to be a blocker or not doing, not throwing that out there. It's just the reality that the lab is going to be upwards of $1 million plus. Now, I have an idea on this, and I know it's going to sound funny.
Ask the military.
No, I don't think it's about the military. As a matter of fact,
tie it to the military buildup. I'm being a little bit facetious, but there's a part of me that's not being a little bit facetious. Is here's a couple of things that we need. We're at the goal line. We can see the finish line in the military buildup. Now is a good time to say, hey, by the way, you know what else would be cool? Can we get it? Why don't you guys build us a lab? We can use the lab for dengue, and we can use the lab for marijuana and all this other stuff.
I have been told
$12 million is nothing.
I have been told that that there is at least one bar in Tumon, and I asked a military friend of mine why this bar was put off limits. And he told me that it was because there was quite a bit of evidence in this particular bar that there were a lot of peddling of illegal substances. And so the military, I don't think on any given day is ever going to buy into unless there's the sea change that might be expected in Washington, and even then, I'm not sure it would change. That Washington may pass a law. The federal government, our national government, as Bob Klitsky says, may reverse their position on
Schedule
cannabis.
1, Schedule 2, sure.
But I will tell you one thing, and I'm not calling anyone out, but last I checked, I think our crime lab is actually basically still not functioning. And I don't think it's producing any of the type of forensics or any of the things that we would desire it to. It was built a number of years ago, and it's had a number of problems, air conditioning problems, staffing problems.
When you say a number of years ago, I mean, we're not talking about the 50s or 60s. We're talking about the early 2000s. Correct. It's not that long ago, and as is typical of government of Guam operations, everybody shows up for the ribbon cutting, but nobody sticks around to do any of the maintenance. And they have had major air conditioning problems and an inability to preserve any of the samples. I don't know what the options are going to be. As much as it might end up being, there may not be any of those kinds of testing controls. We will by reputation and as time goes by find people that are growing marijuana. I mean, I don't know how sick you can get from smoking marijuana that still might have some DDT in it.
I see I see a potential harmony of interest there. I see a potential that if investors and licenses are marketed and this kind of thing goes forward, it doesn't, in my mind, it does. The government has already, the local government has already voted and signed off on legalizing this. The forensics lab is a government function. Regulation is going to be a government function.
Yes, concur.
It makes sense that maybe some of the first investment and some of the first licenses actually start subsidizing and funding a forensics lab, we have a cannabis lab too.
Right. So we're both money guys, and
sure.
so instead of having one license, that's going to go out to the highest bidder and ensure that is the money that is also used for seed for the lab. Let's have lots and lots of distribution licenses. Lots and lots of people are going to be able to grow. The guys that we want to test out for sure are the growers, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So anybody can grow if you want to, and this is how much a grower's license is going to be. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to say there can only be 2 licensed growers. There can only be 3 licensed growers. You want to grow, you've got the capability to grow. This is what you're going to charge on the fee, and this is what the annual membership is going to be. So we'll hit you coming in just an application fee, and then we're going to have you rent that license year after year after year. And it's up to you to be able to make some money on your business, understanding that first initial fee sets up the administration, but it also sets up the spend for the lab.
It's got to be. I don't see any.
Look, if somebody wants to do a retail license, if you want to go to say the Department of Revenue and Tax, I want to get a business license. What are you going to sell? I'm going to sell coffee and brownies and cookies, and it's all going to have marijuana in it. I don't think that that should be a different license than anything else. And if there is a difference on it, then a difference in the fee probably needs to go and support, again, the administration of and the testing of whatever it is that they're going to be selling, so that we have a, quote, safe product that's
Ray,
going out.
If we look back to one of the more controversial stories, and I might have to change my top 5. One of the most controversial stories that started out the year after the bill passed was the customs and quarantine, basically holding back CBD product coming into the island.
I remember that, middle of the year.
And the whole premise was the fact that, quality control, even within the United States of America, where there is a number of states now, full-blown cannabis, CBD products on the market, the bottom line is they say no when they believe a product doesn't have the seal on it or doesn't have the laboratory research and seal on the product to say the product is safe for consumption.
I don't know that that exists anywhere. I'd have to take a look at some of the CBD products that may or may not be at my house to see if there's some kind of some kind of actual federal certification.
Was your tree green this year?
Or state certification. Well, it's, a lot of different fun colors.
Yeah.
Fiesta colors, I like to say. But to the degree that one of them exists, I think, and I read something recently. I'm going to botch the storytelling on this because it's not fresh in my head. But the idea that there would be anybody doing anything with CBD was supposed to support tests, and the tests by the Federal Department of whatever it is, drugs and whatever. My understanding is they said, okay, we're going to allow you to do this for testing purposes, but haven't actually given out any permissions to anybody in any state to actually conduct these tests.
Right.
So people are growing now, and I think even at the federal level, it's illegal. So it doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if there were no controls over what it goes into that little squirt bottle of CBD. What else is in there? How much CBD is in there by weight? And is it all coconut oil? How much of this is Jergens with a little bit of CBD whispered into it?
And I think that the divide between CBD and cannabis consumption really is it's buyer beware, because I think, but now that at least of what I've seen, the CBD market and the whole discussion on CBD is really the value of the extraction from cannabis outside of the THC.
Yes.
And that is really where I think the rub is, because if people are buying the product of CBD, and a mutual friend of ours, I'll leave his name out, he just traveled to Guam a year ago.
Just mention the names. Look, everybody you know has got some kind of, everybody you know has some connection to CBD, and it shouldn't surprise you, because there's a lot of things that are touted as benefits and bonuses of putting CBD in your diet or rubbing it on something when you need to. Some people believe that there is almost a magical medicinal effect of it. It makes the aches and pains go away. I popped a gummy and my stomach ache went away. There's all kinds of things. But, to what degree, how much of that is in there? How much of that is, what do they call that in the medical business, where it's a placebo effect? I believe that this is going to help me, so I popped a couple of gummies and it helped me. Imagine that.
Well, the gentleman said to me, that, wow, I was amazed, a week of taking it, and he had, no pun intended, had a lot of joint pain, and and that joint pain, started to disappear. And so, there you go.
He said pun intended. Or did you say no pun intended? I was concentrating
on
I'll
reverse that. Pun intended.
Pun definitely intended. Joint pain went away as a result of it. But did it go away because he wanted it to? Did it go away because he believed? I believe in the power of my CBDs.
It could be. I know that this particular gentleman does a lot of research, and so I think that.
Well, we're talking about the same guy. He did a lot of smoking in the 70s too.
Oh, man, I'm in trouble. 4,000 miles away, and I'm going to get it.
It's legal where he is, too. And he's on the hippie side of the state. He's fine. Don't worry about him. Anyway, 922. So this is the fun part of any conversation that Chris and I can step to. Is virtually any topic here on Guam that we can get into and have a lively discussion. And even when we agree on things, there's still lively discussions. Among the things that we agree on is that the Republicans did a terrible job running for office in in 2018, and we see the results of it now. And I don't know if you saw this. You can see it up on the screen. I'll go ahead and place this back for Facebook Live viewers. That is an image of Governor Lou Leon Guerrero holding a puppet, and the puppet is made in the likeness of Will Castro. Do we have a problem with minority leadership in the 35th Guam legislature?
Well, you know, of course.
Is everybody pulling him aside and saying, you're supposed to vote against the Democrat stuff, not for it?
Well, you know, of course, in this position, I'm going to let Will speak for himself. But what I will say is, in the past...
That's such a panty answer. Come on, Chris.
I know. Is our sister on yet?
Yes.
Sister Shelly's like,
yes.
Christopher, stop that.
She's going to
say... Take off your panties. Put on your underwear.
Panty answer.
You know, but I want to just harken back to, the time that I was in the legislature and served as assistant minority leader under Tony Ada and also Frank Blas Jr. I believe I was the whip during that legislature. And, you know, the thing is that sometimes, and like I said, well, Will answer for himself, sometimes the minority leader will allow other members, to really take the fight to the mat. I did in the 31st and the 32nd on a number of different issues.
Well, there's loyal opposition. There's loyal opposition, and we've seen Ben Pangilinan do this, where you are the loyal opposition, not just to your opposing party in the legislature, but also whoever happens to be sitting over at the governor's office.
That's true.
So you've got to have two things going in your head. Number one, I need to push my party's priorities. I need to hold the other party's priorities back, but we also have to together stand up against the governor. There's still the separation of powers and a certain attraction of powers. We talk about this with the governor and these so-called lapse funds, the excess revenue that came out of the FY19 budget. The legislature looks at that and says, well, we're the body that creates the budget, therefore you can't spend without our permission. And by the way, these are some of the things that we'd like to see happen. The governor's office says, no, you don't understand. Those are the lapses. Those are in place because we didn't spend up to past our revenues, and so we can do what we want to with those lapse funds.
And so, Ray, my advice, because I've been to a couple of Republican gatherings in the last few weeks, and my advice was, to be the loyal opposition just for opposition's sake, people don't like that. To be the loyal opposition because you got better ideas is what it's about.
Oh yeah,
and that's where I think really where in my opinion there's been a shortage. Now, James Moylan, as I said, a lot of times the members of the minority who are not in the leadership they took the mantle because that's what they ran on.
Yeah.
Jim Moylan has had a number of different introductions of bills that I believe most, if not all, of the Republican minority support that hasn't even seen the light of day in the legislature.
That's just bullying by rules.
And they are fundamentally contrary to the administration. The 5% back to 4%. The ideas on business development. Jim, to me, and Therese have been the standouts of this 35th legislature. They are the fighters.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim and Therese, I like Clint very much in the conversation.
He's done some wonderful work.
But he's got that fighter mentality as well. It might not necessarily be on political grounds, but he's certainly gone after the utilities in a very, very public way. Don Parkinson did the same thing back in the 80s, and that didn't hurt him in terms of getting himself reelected. So 9:26 in the morning, but I don't disagree, but I think there just needs to be a little bit of a stronger push, and maybe it's harder to do because everything seems to be polarized in favor of the Democratic majority.
That's true, but the thing is that the Democratic majority also, at least 2 or 3 members that come off the top of my head, are doing a very good job of also being a loyal opposition.
I think Selena and Therese.
Sure, and I think within that majority, they also understand. This next year is going to bear out to where a lot of them are going to want to keep their seats. And so they may not always be lockstep with the administration. So I think you need to see, opposition coming from both parties. But it's going to be important. You cannot overstate this. It's going to be important that the 6 Republicans make a decision to come out and stand on some fundamental ideas to where they can show contrast.
We'll see. The only reason why I'm concerned about this is because we've already had what I'm going to refer to as a season of no progress. We haven't really, in my mind, seen anything that that is progressing the island forward. So now what we're talking about is where we had what I thought was an unbelievable harmony of interests among everybody. Now we're actually going to sow more seeds of division and line drawing and siloing both at the legislature and the administration, and then that means that next year will be another season of unprogress. We'll spend another $1 billion in that budget, and at the end of the day, citizens like you and I are still going to ride on the same crappy roads. We're going to see guardrails that get mangled up in the middle of the night by some drunk driver that never ever get repaired. Those are some of the things that are going to be standing out. There's all these other things. That there's going to be more paper shuffling, if you will, of the government of Guam bureaucracy.
Well, and that's why Ray Gibson has an amazing platform for 2020.
The
disruptor.
No, yeah, and I'll say it. Yeah, I want to disrupt. I want to disrupt both parties. I think both parties have kind of walked away from the ideas of what they're supposed to be doing on Guam. And here's the basics: public safety, public health. Education is right up there, and all of the other stuff that if it doesn't fall handily right away in any of those three things, that we really need to consider it. I move forward with business development. I think business development is important. We've got basically two businesses on Guam: the military and the hospitality industry. And whether you love GVB or you hate GVB, the law is originally written for them to take, and you've been there. Sure. Here's the money, and it comes from the Tourist Attraction Fund. And now we got a board that determines how we're going to spend that money. And if you don't like the way the board is spending that money or controlling the dollars, then all you got to do is go and find a couple of people over at the legislature, cry to them, and then pretty soon you've got legislation now that stands up, quote, hospitality and visitor programs that even the people over at GVB said, yeah, no, that doesn't work for us. That's not going to put butts in airplanes.
I think one of the biggest disservices has been the raid of that tourist attraction
my God,
fund.
yes, over all of the years, and Republicans and Democrats.
Certainly, and the only real strength that I've seen come out of that is the priority projects of the hot bonds, and that has taken care of the museum. They're supposed to do some additional development in Hagåtña. It's taken care of some issues with flood mitigation in Tumon, lighting issues. And so the thing is that you see when the people of Guam really have no problem with capital improvement items on our list, and to go to the bond market on those issues when they're for public benefit, and of course our marketing of our destination.
Who could stand in front of that?
Absolutely. And, Sinanya, until the Route 4 and in other places, until the contract went in place, there was a time for a couple of months, because that happens every year. It'll happen this year again when the fiscal year folds over. There was a time when Route 4 started to look like Halumtanu again, and trash and everything else. But you're right there, and just the other day, another couple of weeks passed by, and under contract from GVB was a beautiful roadside. Yeah. Grass is wonderful, trash is picked up, everything else. So yes, you're absolutely right. We have to get back to the priorities of our government, serving our people. Stop tapping in to the Tourist Attraction Fund for things
junk. It's junk. I'm telling you, and there are 14 bills that came out in the first couple of weeks of the new legislature, and because they weren't otherwise accounted for, and it was all these people who went crying to GVB, crying to the legislature after they were told no by GVB.
Okay, I'm going to give you one of my top 5 on the good side.
Good.
Just because we're on this, because I'm talking about trash, and I hate the trash on this island, like everybody else does. Pam Duvall, how you doing?
Yep.
The bottom line is that I'll tell you what. Dengue fever and the war against dengue, that has been the biggest cleanup Guam has had in Dedido.
Unfortunately,
because it was dengue that forced us to load up the trucks, make sure we mobilized everything. We had a purchase order under emergency declaration.
All of a sudden there was money.
That loosened up all the money, and there's plenty of money in that basket to go do that. And Land Trust properties and other properties in Dedido now are clean and shiny, and they're clean and shiny for Christmas, because dengue was going to, the water was going to get in the tires, going to get in the washing machine, going to get into whatever else was in the boonies. The little bowls that exist there, old dog bowls, cups, saucers, whatever else it is.
Everything plastic.
And mosquitoes were going to breed, and there's a large population there. So we're going to run out there and clean up Dedido and make it sparkling clean, which is absolutely wonderful, particularly our government properties, because we got to clean our house first. But it took dengue to do it.
Yeah, but now that we're not on the dengue outbreak list. They cleaned that up last week. I don't know whether it's because we don't have any actual cases or whether we're not being able to test them now because of the fire over at Public Health. But the National Outbreak Office has taken us off the alert map.
Whatever it is, I got to say that was a very well executed, in my opinion, well executed response.
Public Health. Thank Public Health, yes. Because they were able to execute their plan, and apparently there were others that had the brains to stay out of their way.
My friend Jim Gillen, you may know,
yes.
he had a lot to say that on a particular chat.
I'm sure. 9:32 in the morning. My producer, he's going crazy with hand signs. Hand signs.
Christopher, stop.
It's been all the friendly signs.
What? So there ought to be some booby. While not necessarily a top 10 topic. Nate Horn is chiming in saying or replying to something Shelley was talking about. Don't forget the plastic bags. So maybe while we charge. Troy, you're doing this. This is your older cousin Ray saying you're doing this. It's going to be Troy's top 10 broadcast of the top news stories of 2019. But I also want, this will give Johnny something to do, I want you to do the top 10 booby prizes of 2019. The stupidest things to come out of the government of Guam or the island of Guam in 2019. And I'll stand up and say, you know, the idea that I'm going to run for public office could be up there in the top 5. But certainly certain murals in Agana need to be highlighted as some of the head scratchers of 2019.
99 Luft balloons?
That one, yeah. And still, nobody's gone to that. Nobody has tagged that.
But they do kill turtles, though.
What's that? The balloons?
Yes.
Where? Which one?
I've seen it.
I don't know. It's straws, plastic balloons, straws, and things like that.
Put a tether on your balloon.
Yeah, a string on it. Just don't let it fly too far away. It's 9:34 in the morning. Look, I got to take a break. iConnect time at 9:34. Swing by there and ask them. Tell them, because Ray Gibson said they're going to save you money on mobile, internet, and push-to-talk plans. You might be able to still get one in the beginning of the new year. So give them a ring, 888-8888.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agana at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Begin 2020 in style at Hyatt Regency Guam Resort. Party into the new year with entertainment and beachside views of the Tumon Bay fireworks at the New Year's Eve Countdown Party beginning at 10 p.m. Join the party early at 6 p.m. for Breeze's Dinner Buffet, a Polynesian and fire dance show, and get entry and free-flowing drinks at the New Year's Eve Countdown Party. For information about bottle service options or to make a reservation, please call 647-1234.
Ask me all of that stuff that we're talking about. That's other countries, not necessarily us. I think the burden is always going to be placed on straight white males and what apparently we've done or haven't done to the environment. Even though there are all kinds of other countries around here that are even bigger culprits when it comes to dumping and trash in the environment. You start taking a look at you would think that every single plastic bottle or balloon or straw that is somehow endangered somebody's life came from the United States of America.
Absolutely not true.
And that's not the case. And while we do what we feel is necessary here in order to protect the environment, I think more needs to be done by these other countries that do the same thing.
Spokane has waste energy. Spokane, Washington.
Don't get me started on waste energy. You know where I'm at on that.
They burn about 90% of their garbage. And I visited the facility, and the president of the director or whatever else it was, and the head cheese at the facility took me outside, and he challenged me to look up at the stack. And I looked up at the stack, and he said, "Is it running or not running?"
Right?
Honestly.
Yeah.
And I looked, and I said, "I don't think it's running." He said, "Let's go over to the production site."
Yeah.
You could, if you had to look really hard to see that the heat was the only thing differentiating the visual.
No, so the plume.
The
You
sky.
could see that. You could see that there was a temperature difference.
Sure. So you know how really hot air, and it was so hot. I guess it didn't even really have smoke in it. It was that clear plume of.
Were they using plasma gasification? Do you know? Because that's the next big deal. Carl Gutierrez and I were talking about something along those lines. That just changes, and Ken will Ken Leon Guerrero may chime in and say, it's not scalable, and we've got issues here.
No,
do we generate enough trash to be able to turn something like that on? And I think in that prospect, probably not. If we were honest with ourselves, but there might be other ways that we can look at it. Nate Horn says, I agree with you, Nate. We need a glass pulverizer here for sure. Clint Rigel's on the line. He's actually in the 35th Guam legislature. So, Clint, get me a couple of glass pulverizers, dude.
Half a day, Senator.
Half a day. Actually, you're not the only one who's Mr. Paul Tobiasen is a constituent who talks to us regularly about glass pulverizers, and I've heard that some people were supposed to be bringing some in actually. So
when
last I heard, I don't know. I heard from some people that someone was going to bring some glass pulverizers. Some local business person was going to bring some in. So I need to follow up.
I've looked it up online. They're not expensive devices. I mean, they're almost like Walkmans. And we're not talking about a big industrial thing, right? We're talking about you could probably get about 4 or 5 of them. Sprinkle, give them to Payless. Have them put them in the back of a Payless market or something like that, or put it on a trailer. And start taking these things around and do like a Hasut Guam program, but with glass. You take the glass out there, and these pulverizers, you can tell the pulverizer what size sand you want when it's done. You can make it powder. And send it back to a beach if you like, or you can turn it into to the same media that they use for sandblasting and sell it to industrial consumers around here that need to do to clean up the metals and rust and things like that. There's a gillion and one uses for it. You send it to the guys over at Hawaiian Rock. Maybe they can use that as part of the aggregate for the new roads. That one of these days we'll build that new road that goes from Teedzin down to Marine Corps Drive. Let's do that too, Clint. Come on.
What road?
Old Pizza Hut. Old Pizza Hut, Clint.
If not,
okay.
There ought to be a way to do that.
That's what I was told was Clint. That's what I was told was the proposed a long time ago.
Yeah.
And that's right. No, I remember now. Yes, connecting it somewhere in the middle of Teedzin down to Marine Drive. I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily where I'd put it. It would be a nice place to put it. That gets you into Central Tamuning a little bit faster.
I don't know if Tim Brady will like it.
Yeah, but no, he
might have lost a friend.
He's the best dentist ever.
I don't know. Maybe he takes a right and heads over to Barragata.
But it would be nice if you remember where they had that set of stairs where you go from Bayside down.
That's a steep one.
I know, yeah, but it's science.
That's a much different angle.
From Safa's got that new construction going on for his new dialysis center. I think that's what it's going to be. Have you been by there? Have you seen what they've done with that old building? And they knocked down the old A&W. That's going to be the big parking area for what I believe is going to be Dr. Safa's new, what do you call it?
Oil change?
Not oil change.
Blood change?
No, blood change. Yeah, the oil change. Yeah, the dialysis
center, yeah.
Anyway, so the reason why I wanted Clint back on is 2020 is coming up. He's got one of the big stories, hands down, from 2019, being able to make it so that I can help pretty girls light their marijuana joints on Marine Corps Drive. At any rate, so... What are you going to be working on in 2020? What would you like to see? Give me a prediction from Clint Rigel prediction on what we might see out of what's left of the 35th Guam legislature.
Sure. Well, I'm not sure what the others are working on or what they have planned, but I can talk about what I want to work on is, sticking with my campaign. So I ran a green campaign, of course, and cannabis was just part of it. It was just one of the 5 main points I had. The other part is green with renewable energy, which I feel we accomplished something big. We actually passed a law requiring 100% renewable energy by 2045, which is the same standard that a lot of other jurisdictions are using, I think, in California and some other states. I forget all the states off the top of my head, but a bunch of jurisdictions who are relatively aggressive with it. Some are more aggressive, and they have it by 2035, but we didn't want to be too aggressive. We wanted to be realistic, so we went with 2045 and got that passed. So that was a big part of my campaign, was green energy. So the other thing is green with agriculture. I want to develop and help to push and develop an agricultural industry on Guam. So I'm going to start focusing on agriculture in 2020 because we import 90% of our produce, and there's nothing wrong with importing, but I think we kind of have it backwards. I mean, usually you want to grow most of your stuff locally, then import whatever can't be grown here locally. So I think if we can start doing more of that. I mean, even when it comes to simple items, of course, not everything grows here, but even stuff that we do grow here, we don't grow here. I mean, go to the store and buy achoti. It's made in the Philippines or it's from Mexico or whatever. Where's the locally grown achoti? You can find it some places, but we don't really have it that readily available.
You get calamansi. You can get the calamansi concentrate from the Philippines as well. Although
Exactly.
it ain't a stretch to just have a calamansi plant in the backyard of the house.
Exactly. And then have local businesses growing it and producing products here. And we're starting to see some of that happening with certain things. I mean, Denancy's huge now. We, at least thank God we're not importing Denancy.
From Rhoda
like
sometimes,
Philippines.
Rhoda
But other than that, I think you're right, Clint. We've got a lot better at it. We're producing a lot more.
Excuse me. Yeah, we're improving. So there's local. I mean, yes, before we still import some Tinian Denancy for those who want that Tinian flavor.
Correct.
My brother-in-law just had it at his house yesterday, and so. But there's a lot more now that are. But that's made from their version from Rhoda and Tinny, and that's their version of the Sully, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I believe that's because they don't have snakes up there. We've got snakes here, which has decimated the Sally population, which means it's hard to find Donut Sally. Every time, I tell you what, guys, every time I go hiking, I try to find a Sally plant out in the boondocks. It's so hard to find because it's supposed to be a better version of Donut.
It's supposed to be that you know the chickens actually eat those too. So sometimes it's the 12 chickens.
Yeah. So it looks like I'm not going to say you got your hands full. I think these are all with merit. Things to pursue around here, and I don't know that there'd be anybody that gives you a hard time, other than there may need to be more that to help out farmers around here to be able to do their jobs.
There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done with agriculture. So, and just talking with farmers, I was just talking.
Well, we got all this land that we've given to these farmers under the land trust program. I mean, how much?
Right.
What kind of agriculture are we getting? Are the other taxpayers getting for these low leases on these properties?
Exactly. That's one of the things I want to take a look at as well. Because my understanding is some have sort of gotten away with. They're not really. I mean, they plant like a few fruit trees and they
planting abandoned cars on most of those properties.
They say like I've got 5 calamansi trees and 2 laguna, and then they say,
you're supposed to be a full-blown farm here, guy. You're supposed
Right,
to be growing all kinds of stuff. Pineapple does very, very well on Guam, among other things.
So, another issue we're going to have to solve for agriculture that I'm hearing from a lot of farmers is the pigs.
The feral pigs.
The pigs are wreaking havoc on farms. They make people quit. I just spoke to a guy yesterday at this party who said, he was farming all kinds of stuff from down in Molesto, selling it up in the market. He said he gave up. I said, why? He said the pigs, man, it was just too hard, and he just didn't have the money to invest in fencing off the whole property. So it just got too difficult.
Yeah,
to deal with
funny
the
story, Clint. When I first moved to Sinania, I would call the police station once in a while because I'd hear a random pack. And by the fourth time,
found out they're shooting pigs.
But check this out, Clint. It's real. By the fourth call that I made to the station, they said, Chris, there's a farm down there in the Springs. They're shooting the pigs because they're eating all the pepino. So actually, that's a very popular place down there, especially during the dry season, to grow pepino and a lot of the other different melons down in that area. But the pigs just wipe them out. So exactly,
they've been.
And deer,
havoc across
and deer, any of the ungulates. So I mean, there needs to be more of these programs, and I'm lucky to be working with a lady named Jane Dia over at the Department of Agriculture, and she's really big on ungulate control that we've got to exert around here. She's the one that is behind the pork in the park deal and the pig derbies that we have. And I understand there's going to be another pig derby coming up in May. But even as popular as these things are, there's still a finite number of pigs that people can dispatch out there using firearms and bows and arrows and things like that. We need to do more to get more of our guys out in the boondocks. So we should probably look as we look at agriculture. It's not just growing plants, but we ought to maybe look at something like a slaughterhouse where people can go out, get their pig, dispatch you go ahead and do the primary cleaning out in the boondocks, but bring the rest of it back for butchering.
I heard there's one on the way.
Right. From?
It's next year.
Government?
Well, I'll leave that out there for the new year. But no, it's private venture.
So portable?
People have been talking about it. I've met with some people who said they want to do it. Or I'm not sure if there's anything concrete coming through. But people have been talking about it. So that's another thing I'm going to look into as well and see what we can do.
Do you think there might be a retail benefit to that, or you think there might be if somebody went out, because pig is pig, right? But people might turn up their nose at feral pigs and the boars that are out there.
You know what I was told, Clint, by a farmer, a former pig farmer. He's retired now. But I said, why is it so bad? Are we just not killing enough pigs? He said, a lot of farmers that were farming, swine before, actually, our wild pig is very domesticated. That's why you don't see a lot of them with the big tusk and the really hard hair.
So we have two. You're right. We have two different types. We've got the fully wild ones are all black and they've got tusks and stuff, and they're all black. Those are the fully wild ones, right? Okay. Then we've got domesticated ones that have been let free. I know what you're talking about because I spoke to people at agriculture actually a few years ago. My understanding is in the 90s, a lot of farmers started investing in pig, and they were going to start raising them because there was supposed to be a slaughterhouse built. And this was, I guess, GovGuam and agriculture at the time was working on some sort of initiatives to create an industry for pig farming. And so the problem is the slaughterhouse, I don't know the details. Something didn't go through with the slaughterhouse. It never happened. So a lot of farmers were left with a lot of pigs. They couldn't really, there was no slaughterhouse to properly slaughter them and sell them legally in the markets and everything else. So they got tired of them. They let them go. And then they became the feral pig population. The thing is, the interesting thing about pigs is pigs can actually turn from feral to wild in a few generations. They turn quick, and they'll go back to their wild roots. So you'll see feral pigs will become fully wild in a few generations. I don't remember exactly how many generations, but they'll start growing the tusks. Their hair will all turn black. So a lot of times the feral pigs that you'll see are the ones that still have some of the domesticated blood in them, but they also breed with the wild pigs when they get out there too. They interbreed with the wild ones. But pigs can turn wild and start growing wild features within a few generations. Pigs are not just a huge problem on Guam. They're a huge problem in Hawaii. They're a huge problem across the mainland U.S. because they're just I guess this species of animal is just very successful at overrunning places. They breed a lot. My understanding is I think pig can have its first litter in less than a year. So the pig doesn't have to be a year. It can be like 6 months or something ridiculous, like 6 months or 3 months old, something around there. And it can have its first
they're intelligent creatures. I mean, they're not quite like deers. Just kind of go and look for something to eat and run around and do pig stuff.
They're hard to trap.
Yeah, pigs are.
My understanding is that there's more feral and wild pigs. So we talk a lot about the stray dog population, which is true. We need to control that as well. But my understanding is there's more wild pigs on Guam than there are stray dogs.
Well, you can shoot pigs, but don't you dare shoot a dog on Guam. You incur the wrath. But let me just let me interject with this because the federal government now, in infinite wisdom, the land of the tall Quonset hut and our great white fathers, say we're not allowed to cockfight here on Guam anymore, and it is possible that the alternative to cockfighting businesses and feed stores and things like that may end up being a viable swine industry here on Guam, and that maybe somebody needs to do some kind of study on and see, do we have the facilities for it? Is there a market for it? If there was a slaughterhouse and we were able to go and bring either pigs that we've raised from piglets or catch and have those things, is it possible that there is some kind of a retail upside? Would you? And I'm looking at Chris. I know for a fact Chris would eat a pig that we shot in the wild this morning.
Absolutely.
And you'd have him. Clint, you and I would have no problems. We get out there and we start grinding it up. I get my boy Kevin and have Kevin do some of his. He's won the pig in the park thing
mostly for
like 3 times, right? Well, yeah.
Kevin Uggan. That's
Kevin Uggan. That's my guy, right?
He does
it in Nancy. Yeah. So my point is it possible that there is a retail upside to this?
I think so.
Will the hotels buy it?
The thing.
I think so. I think if it's Go ahead.
Yeah, if your research is like mine, Clint, I think really what it comes down to is economies of scale. Because this same farmer I was talking to, basically said, you know, I also stopped because people will come by and they'll try to Jew me down. I have my sign up in Jigu and it says, you know, pig, you know, $120, and then they come in and they want the biggest letson and they'll tell me, oh, brigatson, $80. And he said, I've spent $80 on feed for that pig. So everybody's buying from base, and they buy the $110 in a box already ready to go and clean, and that's what they're roasting. So from what I understand, it really is the economies of scale. If we have enough farmers and we're doing enough volume, the price comes down, from what I understand.
Right. That's a big part of it too.
Well,
and then maybe
again, it's business. It's just numbers.
Yeah, maybe there has to be some incentives too, or I don't know whether it's QCs or something to that effect. That might be necessary. I don't know yet, but
sure.
I mean, we don't know until we look more into it. I mean, like I said, the biggest thing I heard too from when farmers started letting pigs go is because the slaughterhouse was never came to fruition. So they couldn't even legally sell their pigs in this market
because there was no way to get a stamp.
Exactly.
There has to be like a USDA regulated slaughterhouse or USDA approved slaughterhouse.
Yeah. So, well, you know, it's kind of a long shot, but you're pretty good at long shots this year. So,
hey, Clint, I wanted to ask you a question real quick.
Sure.
I watched the budget session, and I noticed that you transferred $400,000 from the Invasive Species Fund to fight feral dogs. How's that program going?
I'm not sure. There's some legislation that Senator Sabina Perez is also working on, and I'm going to work on it with her. To roll out some sort of program with the feral dogs. But yes, we gave them more funding from invasive species because stray dogs are actually an invasive species. So I don't know exactly what's been accomplished with that yet. So what I'm hearing is that I've met with people. I met with Gain and some other people trying to figure out what's the solution for the stray animal population, because the mayors say it's difficult. Everyone says the dogs are pretty smart too. It's hard to catch a lot of them.
Yeah.
So what some representatives from Gain have said is that they believe the best thing to do is to do a very aggressive spay and neuter program where even catching the stray dogs, spaying and neutering them, and even releasing them back out, because eventually if those dogs are spayed, they just won't have any offspring.
Sure.
And so eventually they can bring the numbers down. And this is according to Cyrus, who I spoke to, from Gain, and he said that there's data that shows other jurisdictions in the world, I don't remember where offhand, but that have done this, and they can bring the numbers down significantly within 5 years of doing an aggressive spay and neuter program.
That's very
so
near.
that's my understanding. Is that's
very near and dear to my heart. That was legislation I introduced, and I just want to say that the first place we should go is make sure that the Invasive Species Council is convening regular quarterly meetings, because that's where the information should be coming from.
There's some good guys there.
Right.
9:54. Clint, a big hug and a kiss to you and your wife for New Year's. I'm going to be on a plane tomorrow. I'll catch you when I get back.
Hey, how long are you gone for?
How long am I gone for, Chris?
5 days and a wake up.
There we go. Is Chris going to take care of the show? I will, buddy. Chris will take care of the show between here and there. So don't be surprised if Mike calls you up.
Sure.
No problem. I'll talk to Chris too.
Right on.
All right, guys. We can just break away real quick.
Okay, thank you.
9:55. I'll be right back.
Ever notice how that one perfect holiday gift is just out of reach? Or how sales on the stuff you want all come at the same time? This season, plan ahead with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. Now you can afford to be nice without being naughty. For more details, visit FHB.com or any branch to apply. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Kelaguen Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
Oh man! See, now I'm in that situation. I'm in that situation. You were talking about the pig farmer guy, and everybody wants to get the pig for cheap, and he's like, dude, I'm not even covering costs if I sell it to you at the price that you're asking, right?
Yeah, that's what it came down to. I mean, it is a lot of feed is expensive. It continuously goes up, and so most of them some of them that are got the market from going to the to the restaurants for the leftovers and stuff like that, they might get away with mixing it with the feed. But by and large, to have a good pig, you got to have good feed.
Yeah, absolutely. So here, now this is where I'm saying I'm in that situation. So there's a local tradesman, New Moon Creations Guam. If you want to take a look at some of the stuff that he's got on the Instagram. Anyway, so there's somebody that I know that wants me to get them a spondulus necklace, and so I'm looking at the prices, and I'm really, I mean, they're not bad prices. I mean, between
cost some money.
Yeah, between $85 and about $135. I'm
You're lucky spondylus, so now he's
right.
Forget about it.
Yes, I want to ask the guy for a break about that, but I know it's spondylus. I mean, it's not like you can just walk on the beach and pick it up, and then there's work that goes into milling it and stuff for
those guys work hard. Greg Pangilinan, he's the pioneer, and my goodness, I mean, those guys really work hard.
Yeah. So I may bite the bullet, might not. I don't know. I'll have to check with the guy. Anyway, 9:57 in the morning. So there's a quick program note. Chris Duane is going to be taking you through the Ray Gibson Show tomorrow and Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, don't come here.
No.
Because it's New Year's Day, and then on Thursday and Friday, come back. I'll be on the plane back on early Saturday morning and get myself some rest, and then because I intend to. I want there to where I'm going. I want the newspapers to say Guam man arrested for.
Oh boy, Michael Knight. Michael Knight. Should we tell him? Should we tell him what New Year's in Manila sounds like?
It couldn't sound any worse than Jigo.
Have you ever been to Iraq?
Have I ever been to Iraq? Yeah, I imagine there might be some of that. I intend to be
as you
undercover.
leave, I want to make sure you come back because Guam needs you and this show needs you.
I can do it by remote control from the Philippines.
By 4 in the afternoon, New Year's Eve, if you're in Manila or anywhere else, get undercover.
Yeah, just go inside.
I intend to be undercover around that time. Yeah. They got a nice deal going on at the Peak over at the Hyatt that I'm very, very interested in.
The next morning, there'll be a cloud. Am I right, Mike?
Yeah.
From all the explosions, there will be.
Although it should be noted that Duterte has actually toned down the New Year's celebrations.
His guys will shoot back. You're shooting up. How clever is that? Bang, bang, mata.
Thanks for the excuse.
Not at the end. And one last thing. I didn't have a chance to talk about it with Mana, but I hope everybody had a chance to spend some time yesterday with their family and friends and watch great Christmas classics on television, like, I don't know, It's a Wonderful Life or some of the Rankin Bass shows that came out back in the day. At my house yesterday, we had the solemn moments and watched Bruce Willis and Die Hard.
I had beer and beef roast.
Good man.
I was nowhere near a TV.
Sweet. Fishing for the New Year's.
It's going to happen after you get back.
Right?
It's gonna happen after you get back, unless I do an afternoon run.
All right, we'll see what happens. Anyway, at 10 o'clock in the morning, thanks so much, and a wonderful Christmas time, and I'm going to hand over the New Year's festivities, and they will do a capable job, I promise. Chris Duane is going to be here for Chris Duane and Michael Knight and Mana Silva Tyron, and Bob Klitsky does the Tall Tales at 4 this afternoon. Have a safe and blessed New Year's, and ring in 2020 in style. I'll see you when I get back. The radio station is 93.3 KUSG. This is The Point.
Wanted man in custody. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. A man placed on Tennessee's most wanted list for his suspected role in a deadly double stabbing has been arrested and charged with murder.
Mosley is the prime suspect in a brutal stabbing that happened this past weekend outside a bar in Nashville. Surveillance footage shows Mosley and others inside the bar before the attack. Authorities say there was an argument over a woman, and it got physical across the street after the suspect and victims got into a fight. Clayton Beathard, 22, and Paul Trapini III, 21, were knifed in the sides and killed in that fight early Saturday. A third victim